Hello, everybody on the internet. It is July 8th. My name is CParks.
And I'm Golden Rose Kay.
And this week we're talking about video games.
Well, I've never talked about video games with you
Yeah, we're going
before.
to try something new this week. We're going to talk about video
Hmm.
games on the internet.
Whoa,
Um,
novel idea.
yeah, how was your last week?
I'm pretty good. I beat a lot of games.
Cool. What was
Never played a lot of the games, I should say.
what was the worst game you beat?
The worst game
Or
I
like
beat?
your least favorite one?
Hmm. My least favorite game I beat. You want like in the entirety or just in this past
In
week?
this past week.
Okay. I got nothing for you. I like them all. Your gotcha question won't work on me.
That's lame. All right.
You got a yes and.
Anyways, I played more Horse Girls this last
You
week.
did play more Post Scrolls.
We'll talk
It was a
about
fun
that.
stream.
We'll talk
Saturday.
we'll talk about that. That's right. I did stream it a little bit. I had fun streaming it. It was goofy. Um I keep bringing it up to people and my wife keeps going, "Please no." She's like,
You're
"Stop.
like
Stop."
it's that classic like meme format where it's the guys like I must buy more horse girls and the girls like no please stop spending money on horse girls.
Uh, I haven't spent any money for the record, but
Hmm.
we'll get more into that
Yeah,
later.
you're about to.
Yeah. No. No, 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 no. 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 I got no money. I have to pay other bills. Although, why pay
Mhm.
like the government right now when I could be paying the horse girls?
That's what I'm saying.
They're doing
They
more.
need us.
They're doing more for me than anyone right now. Um, but yeah,
Your
that's
emotional support horse girls.
and you know what? I think we all needed a little emotional support, girls, after what happened in our first topic. I'll
Hmm.
give you the whole topic list here. It doesn't fit correctly. I don't know why it's not centered suddenly. That's
Did
cool.
you destroy the entire format somehow?
I don't know. I think it just moves every time I edit it. Boop.
Oh, okay, that makes enough sense.
So yeah, we're talking about the Microsoft layoffs, and then we're gonna talk about
Mhm.
Chuck's Arcade,
Dude,
newly
Chuck's Arcade.
newly announced Chuck's Arcade. Umamusume, because I feel like I can talk about that more, and it's the hot thing. It's the hotness.
Mhm.
You've been playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Just finished it. Going to talk about the series.
Mm-hmm.
Try to avoid most more spoilers than not, but we'll see.
Yeah. And then we're gonna talk about canceled games, uh, or games that have like been announced and just disappeared,
Mhm.
that we would like to see come back in some way. And then GDQ, which is happening right now,
Yes,
like
so many games,
at this very second.
so many. Them.
You can watch it right now.
I was watching Majora's Mask speed runs, and then you were like, "Hey, we have to do the show," and
Okay,
I'm like,
get on the
"Fine."
show.
I'll
Just
stop watching my second favorite game of all time, maybe.
yeah, you did the K roll look at me when you were like, "What?"
Hmm.
Yeah, you did that. Um so yeah, that's what we got going on. Let's jump into it.
Such a good gift.
Start start hot. Let's talk about
Hmm.
oh wait, hold on. Then answer is I don't even know what you said. Second favorite, what's your favorite? Your first.
Not my favorite video game of all time is Paper Mario for the Nintendo
Oh yeah,
64.
the OG Paper Mario.
Hmm.
I knew
Hmm. I
that.
think Thousand Year Door is maybe a better game, but that isn't like Paper Mario is just like has so much charm and nostalgia for me that it just can't be beaten by Thousand Year Door.
It came at the right time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um. So Microsoft,
Yeah,
good old
Microsoft.
Microsoft, William Gates and company, recently laid off a bunch of people making video games for Microsoft. Um, if I let's see if I bring this up correctly, but yeah, so they they laid off people, and it's kind of
Mhm.
been a theme happening. Um, I don't even think this is the first round of like layoffs Microsoft
No, they
is.
also laid off a bunch of people in May and or March, was it? Let me double check. But yeah, it's like the last 2 years, like over 6,000 people in Xbox proper have been laid off.
Yeah. So it's a lot.
It's a
Um,
lot. It's a lot of people.
this is this article here from GameSpot. Xbox layoffs were announced. Phil Spencer claims they were necessary, which
Oh, Phil.
like you would think goes without saying.
Mhm.
You would expect you wouldn't expect someone to come out talk about all these layoffs and then be like, we didn't need to do it though. We didn't need
Yeah,
to.
that would be a little bit. That would be a little insane.
Yeah,
But I mean, like a lot of like everything Phil Spencer is going to say is corporate speak, and it's going to be
absolutely.
like we gotta please the shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I don't know, no one wants to hear like we had to lay you off. Sorry.
It says here Microsoft had around 228,000 people by the latest count, so the cuts would be
Mhm.
around 9,000
Mhm.
people laid off.
Yeah, for Microsoft, and then I think Xbox had to do about 2,000
Yeah, it
ish,
shows
something like that.
um, Microsoft Barcelona-based mobile game developer King is cutting 10% of its staff, which is around 200 people. Um, Rare, everybody's favorite
Mhm.
uh nostalgic company. I don't know what I'm saying. They had to make some cuts. They canceled a game that they had announced, Everwild. Um, a new MMORPG from ZeniMax Online Studios was canceled. There's also been a number of like prominent figures in these companies laid off. It's not just like
Mhm.
entry level positions. Like um, one of the guys, like it was like one of the lead directors of like Sea of Thieves and like the Banjo games, right?
Yeah, yeah. So to really get into it, like it's whether or not he was laid off is one of those things like that's like not inherently like said. But the Banjo-Kazooie Sea of Thieves director, he left after the layoff or like while the layoffs were happening. He's like, I'm done. Same with Matt Fryer of ZeniMax, who worked on the director of like the ESO Elder Scrolls Online. So they both left their company, whether or not it was they were laid off or whether or not they were like, hey, my project I've been working on is gone, so I'm gone, or they're just fed up with like, you know, working for a corporate overlord. It doesn't, we don't really know. The other thing I don't know if you said was 50% of Turn 10,
I
the
didn't.
Forza
Yeah,
people.
that's a
Yeah,
lot. That's a
yeah.
lot of
So,
people working on like
uh
annual games that do well for this company.
hmm all right, I'm gonna take a drink of water, and then when you're ready, I can go off whenever you want.
Okay, so the thing I want to bring up, which is
Yeah, you go first.
the end of this story here.
Mhm.
Why don't I make it kind of make it a little bigger, a little bigger. Microsoft Microsoft's latest rounds of layoffs comes amid profitable times for the company. For
Mhm.
Microsoft's latest quarter, the company reported net revenue of $70.1 billion, which is up 13%, and a net profit of $25.8 billion, which is up 18%. The Xbox division specifically has posted year over year revenue growth. Microsoft stock's price is up by nearly 150% in the past 5 years.
Mhm.
All
Mhm.
right, I'll let you
Mhm.
loose now. Go.
It's pretty much fucking bullshit. Like, okay, you like a lot of the people who are fighting. I'll start with the straw man argument, and then I'll come back to how I don't really care about that at all. Phil Spencer convinced Microsoft bigwigs to allow him to buy Activision Blizzard, right? Biggest acquisition of all time, billions of dollars, shit ton of money. Of course, you're going to be under higher scrutiny at that point. Why aren't you making as much money? Xbox, Phil Spencer, do better job. Um, but at the same time, sure, whether or not that merger should have been allowed to happen, is entirely different, but it did happen. Any safeguard against it didn't work. Merger happens, you have redundancy layoffs. That's like expected. And then you have all of these other layoffs in the future that are because of we bought Activision Blizzard. We now have our home studios, the studios we've owned forever, that have been employees for us for 10 years, 15 years, however long. We're going to lay them off because we made the big acquisition. And now we need to make spreadsheets balanced, fun, whatever. A lot of obviously the more important thing to me is all of these like employees that got laid off now have to rethink their lives, rethink what they're doing. And even darker than that is like, so you're a person from the initiative, the first quadruple A developer of all time. You're working on Perfect Dark. Game isn't cooking properly, whatever. That happens sometimes, but now your entire thing is closed. Your entire studio is closed. Every employee of that studio now has a job resume of being like, well, I worked on vaporware for 7 years, and you'll never see like what I've been able to do. I have no proof that I'm a skilled developer because you'll never see. The same goes for people who worked on Everwild for like 6 years. ZeniMax is online. Their new MMO they were working on that got canceled has been in development since 2018. That's another 7 years of people just not having jobs. Turn 10 makes successful fucking video games. Forza's not my cup of tea. Yeah, I'm not the sim racing game person. But Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon both make a lot of money. Motorsport not as much, and it seems to be these cuts are being like, "Hey, we're just making Horizon. You should still shouldn't be punished for fucking success. Like it doesn't make any fucking sense why you can in modern society you look and you have your employees and you go, wow, you guys did a great job, we are killing it, everything is going great. Hey, we're laying off half your team and I'm taking a bigger bonus. It's just fucking bullshit. Like
It's the
the
classic move.
it makes me so mad. And like Xbox as a company, I like genuinely want to succeed. I
Mm-hmm.
think the space in theory is better with more um names, but I don't like now that they own everything and now that they are like in control of all of this, all of these developers that they're not treating well, they're not giving them the best opportunity to succeed, and they're just laying them off one by one. I'm just like, no, you've kind of are like, you're no longer the underdog. I mean, like, granted, Microsoft being the underdog, silly. But in the game space, like you're not. You're just kind of evil right now, and I don't like it. I'm not a fan. There's a whole billion other things in this story I could yell about. Just upset. It's bullshit. You should be rewarded for success, not punished for it.
Yeah, I saw something, Microsoft had a string year after year buying game studio, buying game studio, buying game studio, and as of at least a year ago when I saw this, they owned 13 different franchises that were worth over $1 billion each.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you should be more successful than you are. And like, some people don't like Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a recent interview after these layoffs with a former head of Arcane Studios. He's like the creator of Dishonored, who was like, "Can we talk about the
Mhm.
elephant in the room about how horrible Game Pass is for the industry?" Which like I don't know if I agree with. I don't know much about how like why that model would be bad. It works for me.
Yeah, I
Um,
like so. You finish, and I will talk about Game Pass.
it works for me, but it's just clear that there's like Xbox is making enemies of more than just like fans, you know? It's just like
Mhm.
people in the space are coming out and being like, "Hey, they're hurting us."
Yeah, and so real quick, just like Game Pass, I think only like as a consumer is great value. That's there's no fucking argument against that. You pay up to $15 or whatever a month, depending on which version of it you get, and you have like access to like hundreds of fucking video games. Consumer, great. What I get worried about is like how Netflix has negatively affected like how movies work nowadays, and like like the theater industry, and just like what people put on a value for to watch a movie. That's what I kind of worry about, and you kind of see it with like consumers being like, well, I won't pay full price for a video game. I can play it on Game Pass. That I think can negatively hurt certain developers. Some get more eyes on it, blah blah blah. There's a little bit more muddled gray area with that. Um, but to your point, as I try to remember what my point was to your original point, um, oh man, I got you talked about who? What's the last thing you said? Sorry, before the
Man,
Game Pass,
trying to run a
Arcane.
Arcane guy, Game Pass. Was it before Game
Mm-hmm.
Pass or after Game
It
Pass
was
came?
after. It was after Game Pass. It was like the last thing you said.
Just Microsoft making enemies of people that like aren't just fans
Oh,
but like in the space.
yeah, and that's like what I'm super worried about is why would you as a budding developer be like, well, I'm gonna go work for one of the studios under Xbox?
Yeah.
Like, how do you like if why, first of all, why even enter the video game industry with how volatile and like dark it is, and how quick like you don't get rewarded for success? Why like the passion of making video games? Like, sure, but that's not gonna work for everyone.
It's it
Um,
it's coming out to be something at this point where like working for that like AAA studio, working
mhm,
for a big company that makes all these video games that you loved is becoming in my mind just strictly a stepping stone
mhm,
for a resume to go on to some of these higher scale like small companies or indie
mhm,
companies. So you like you, like so many of these people that are laid off go on to make their own studios, which is
mhm.
great. They obviously can't all succeed. Um,
Yeah, for every like Sandfall, like the clear obscure people get laid off from Ubisoft and then go on to make like arguably the game of the year for this year. There's plenty of indie games that don't see fruition and teams that don't come together.
and then plus also not only just like because of the layoffs and whatnot, like just because of the success that these like smaller games are having now, what
Mhm.
what's the point of or well I think a lot of people's perspective would be what's the point of going to work for a Microsoft
Mhm.
if I can just get together with a small team of people, make something cheap that could potentially sell more, and like I'll make more money in my 5 years developing this game, or
Mhm.
3 years or 2 years or whatever developing this game with a group of people that I've like put together, rather than like sitting under Microsoft and like finishing a game or not and hoping I don't get laid off. Um,
Yeah, and especially with like how long the development cycle is in like for most of the games that Microsoft's trying to make nowadays. It's
yeah.
like you work 6, 7 years and it might not even come out, or you could work like 4 years, 3 years on a smaller project, a more mid-range type game, and still have critical success.
Yeah.
and hopefully financial success.
Mm-hmm. And even that's the thing is like a lot of like smaller teams that find like success aren't major sellers. You know, they're not like a top 10 seller of the week or whatever. It's just like it was cheap to make because video
Mhm.
games like it's very simple to download Unity or or
Unreal
Unreal
or
or a plethora of other game engines. Godot, you know, to make a game very cheap. Um, and like which is awesome,
Mhm.
awesome, but it's just like the way that these people are treated is just making them move away from these companies and like it like Microsoft itself is kind of putting a stain on like the whole industry.
yeah,
Um, I'm trying to see right now which games got canceled. Um,
Perfect Dark, Everwild, ZeniMax
mhm.
MMO. In a very similar thing that I wanted to really talk about was that John Romero of Doom fame had a publishing deal with Microsoft. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna
Yeah,
publish. They're gonna pay you to make a game for us." They said they literally had an interview with John Romero and his team the day before the layoffs, and we're like, "Oh man, we're really excited about what you're working on. Like, this is really good. Like, you've hit all of our our landmarks for the production cycle. Like, this is really good." Day later, cancel publishing license. Romero goes, "I can't pay any of my employees," and he was talking about, he's like, "We're not closed as a studio because I want to find another publishing, but I can't pay any of my employees, so I have to lay off all my employees until we can find a new publishing, and then I'll hire them back if I can." Like, it's just like there's even more than just like the Xbox's own, like, like how safe is OD, like for Kojima's Xbox game? It would be fucking insane for
yeah.
Microsoft to not pay Kojima, but like
That
how safe is it? I don't
yeah.
fucking know anymore.
That almost at that point, like if you cancel Kojima's game, it almost becomes just like seppuku. Like you you know, like you've just like you've killed yourself at that point. Like nobody's gonna want to
Mhm.
work with you anymore. Um, a story that I found that I hated, thought was crazy, was that and there was a post, I don't know if you saw this, put up by an a higher CEO person or whatever in Microsoft that suggested that laid off workers should use AI
Mhm.
such as Copilot to manage their emotions. And this is after I think it was earlier this year, maybe it was like February, where Microsoft like dedicated like an $8 billion like investment into AI. So it's just like you, you're you've I wish I could find the exact number in this. I'm sure I will. But you've got this like now narrative where like you invested $8 billion into AI. Now you have to lay off 9,000 people. Into those 9,000 people, you'd be like, hey, you should use AI to feel better.
It's so fucking out of touch.
And I think it was a post by like a producer on LinkedIn. Oh,
Mhm.
80, sorry, not 8 billion, 80 billion.
It's an absurd
80
imaginary amount of money.
they announced plans in January to invest 80 billion dollars into AI
Mhm.
infrastructure. And then yeah, some producer Turnbull posted it on his LinkedIn to all those people laid off and be like, use our AI to manage your emotions. We know you're mad. Talk to our AI. And then he deleted it with
Yeah,
like good reason. Um,
it's fucking insane.
it is insane. It's so it's just you're not a human. You have no human emotions if like
Yeah.
you thought that that was okay to say. Like, you have to understand who you are and the position you're in and the position that all those other people were in. And like,
Yeah, and like you're financially set for life based on the probably the position that you're in. If you get laid off, you'll be like, "Oh man, a bummer. I'm still fucking rich."
I'm still a,
All these other
yeah,
these other people laid off are gonna like have to struggle for food, for home, like relocation, maybe finding new jobs. It's
dang
bullshit.
it. I just bought my new Lamborghini too. Ugh.
Yeah, this is like the Destiny dude.
Yeah. So yeah, this is all really dumb, really stupid.
Hmm.
It's um extremely unfortunate. I had this weird like sense of like almost like uplift where in both games, in just media in general, games, movies, and TV, where it's like,
Hmm.
hey, we're starting to hit our stride after COVID finally. Like, COVID happened, shut everything down, messed up a lot of stuff. Stuff started picking up, and I was like, now we're starting to see all these things come back together again once all these studios got back into production and like you know, there's more movies coming to theaters, the theaters are doing better. I just felt better about games. And then all of a sudden it's just like now Xbox is like, actually, we are doing better.
Hmm.
However, we could do even better if we laid off 9,000, if we didn't have to pay 9,000 of you.
Yeah, and this AI like arms race that they're in, like how many more casualties is that gonna have? How
Yeah.
long before like Tim Schafer loses like his job, and how safe is Double Fine?
Yeah.
Like it's just like every studio under the Xbox umbrella outside of like I don't know Treyarch
There
and
were
Bethesda proper,
Treyarch wasn't
like
touched, but there were Call of Duty devs that were, which was crazy to me,
mhm.
but I don't know.
Yeah, like people from King. We don't talk about King because mobile gaming isn't like my thing really. King is a fucking highly successful like $1 billion, like a lot of the money in Activision Blizzard was for King because
Yeah.
Candy Crush makes god darn more money than God. Um and they're getting laid off too.
Yeah.
And like it's just yeah, there's literally like I don't think there's a realm of success and like I don't know, like that protects you anymore. And Phil Spencer gets to be, CEO of Xbox, and he has to answer to Microsoft proper. He gets a lot of flack, and Xbox, I mean, Microsoft likes him because like gamers like, oh, he's relatable, I guess. Um, but he's still a gosh darn like CEO, and anything he says is lip service.
Yeah,
It just it drives me crazy.
he's
Like
he
still a CEO.
he went from like a fan favorite on those like giant bomb E3
Hmm.
couches. Uh and like I swear every year it just gets worse and worse for him.
Hmm.
Just worse and worse
Oh,
outlook.
I don't have the article in front of me, but there's also a developer that recently said that Matt Booty and Phil Spencer um, like came to go test their game and to go play it around,
Oh
and
yeah.
they literally had to drag Matt Booty off of it. Matt Booty was having he's another C-suit from Microsoft, if you don't know, with people or from Xbox. Um, and he was like, they had to drag him all. He was like, I'm having so much fun playing this game, it's incredible. And then they're like, hey, like your game's canceled like a month later, and it's just like even if the higher ups like your game, that's still not enough. There's no fucking protection for anyone
No,
in this umbrella company.
which is why everybody in the game industry has been like clamoring for a union, you know. Some are getting them,
Mhm.
some aren't. Um but yeah. That's 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 the sad
um
stuff. I'm glad that
can I have
Chet has realized
well,
that I am sleepy.
yeah. My last thing about like the layoff situation, the reason why we don't see about like this with like a lot of people like to console war this,
Hmm.
which is dumb. You shouldn't console war or anything anymore. But you don't see this as often with Nintendo and PlayStation because Japanese labor laws are way more stricter about layoffs and like what you can do and what you can't do. When you do see it with like PlayStation, it's with like the Western developers under their umbrella. We should have better labor laws here in the West. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good points. Um, let's talk about fun stuff now.
Yeah. Let me be truly baffled for
Let's talk
this
about
segment.
the new hotness, which everyone in chat loves me for that I play. We're
Oh, we're
talking
skip. You
about.
want to skip too?
Oh, you're right. Damn it.
You are so
I'm
sleepy.
so sleepy. I'm so sleepy. We're not talking about that yet. We're talking about Chuck's Arcade. That's what we're here talking about.
Chuck,
I don't know what anyone else was thinking
Chuck
about.
Entertainment Cheese.
Yeah, Chuck Entertainment Cheese is is a new, I don't even know, a new branch, a new
Yeah.
initiative of Chuck E. Cheese
Hmm.
that is uh now it's for the adults. We've had Chuck E.
Yeah.
Cheese, that's for the kids. This time it's for the grown-ups. Chuck's
For the
Arcade.
grown
Yeah, and actually my wife did work for Chuck E. Cheese.
No. Rat.
I think she might have put this suit on. I think she might have
That's
been.
crazy. I didn't know that fact. That's new lore that just dropped for me.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty good, right? It's fun. Um, many times she's in chat. She has worn the Chuck E. Cheese suit many a time. Um, so yeah, so I don't know what this is other than just an arcade.
Yeah.
I know. Man, Sleepy Chris. What is that other big arcade? Because I have a name.
Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's. You don't want to know. I had another two named company in my head that I knew was wrong.
Charles and Cheese.
Mm. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure that company's doing bad. Dave and
Hmm.
Buster's is like having struggles right now. Um, this is a name that people know that I
Hmm.
guess is successful. It's still around.
Hmm.
So like cool if this pops off. Um,
Yeah. So, like, the initiative seems to be like, here, yeah, here are more adult. We're gonna kind of go back to nostalgia. These, um, they are like posited to you being like, hey, not only do we have like crane games and like token games, we also have arcade games.
mm-hmm.
We also have classic like Dig Dug and Pac-Man. Like, you can play like the things from yesteryear that you like love because you're 33 and you want to play Pac-Man and you don't want to play Pac-Man in the 9,000 other ways you can play Pac-Man. Um, they also seem to be generally smaller than like Dave and Buster's, so maybe
Yeah.
that's gonna help them on their like not bludgeon money like
Mm-hmm.
Dave and Buster's is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the truly baffling thing for me is that there's 10 of these. There's 10 of these announced. Two of them are open. Two of them are in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Yeah. Salem and
I,
Nashua
yeah, I
have
don't know why.
two of these Chuck's arcades. Um, which is fun for you, I guess.
But like at the same time, it's not because like why would I like other than it being closer? I guess Fun Spot, the largest retro arcade in the world, is
Yeah.
also in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I go to that instead of this arcade? This arcade that has like I don't know 20, 30 games tops.
I from what I could see, a lot of the space is dedicated to newer arcade games, which is cool. Like I saw in that video, there's like a side-scrolling Ninja Turtle beat 'em up. which
Mm-hmm.
is like oddly based off after I think like the 2012 version of the Ninja Turtles and
Mm-hmm.
not Rise or Mutant Mayhem. Um, but they had
Except for the
that.
theme song.
I think I saw the places of like Minecraft Dungeons
Mm-hmm.
has like an arcade game and like cards that you
Mm-hmm.
use.
Yeah, like the move pay cards.
It's
So.
like QR codes, scan card codes or whatever that you use for like I think if I played, which I have, I've played it on my Xbox Game Pass before. I think I can somehow transfer that to a card to bring it to an arcade,
Mm-hmm.
which is like cool, weird. I don't know what kid is doing that. I don't know what kid is like, let's go to the arcade and play this game that I'm playing at home already.
Yeah.
Um, but like you said, it's smaller than like Dave and Buster's, so
Yeah.
maybe it works.
Yeah. So like in my like trying to math it out in my head and try to make sense of it, they're both of these locations, at least in New Hampshire, are located in malls of okay size. So maybe it's like you and your again, it doesn't make sense for like adults, but like maybe you're a high schooler and you're killing time at the mall as high schoolers do, being mall rats, and they go to the rat arcade because they're like just to kill time. Like maybe that happens.
Yeah, we
But
growing up, I had an arcade in a mall, um, but it died because the mall died,
Mhm.
which is like which is a weird thing actually where I live. Like Tara said in chat, like we have so many arcades in Portland and around us. Like it's true. There's like between like Portland and Vancouver and heading south, we have like a good amount of arcades. Um, Also, we have malls near us that are like popular and successful, and it's
Mm,
really weird to see. It's a really weird thing. Like after leaving like Mass and New Hampshire, where the malls were like dead. Um, yeah, there like we went to a mall recently, and it was like we've gone to two malls recently actually that were like popping off, and it's like odd that it's working the exact same way as it did like when I was a teenager, where it's filled with teens just walking around, hitting up the Auntie Anne's, getting a
mm,
lemonade and a pretzel, and then walking
mm.
into Spencer's or
It is. I mean,
Pop
it's
Mart.
neat because like hangout places are neat. Like and like I want arcades to succeed because
Yeah.
they rule. Um, the nostalgia part of my brain loves it that you can just like I love video games. I can just go out somewhere and put a quarter down. It's not that anymore,
Mm-mm.
but still, I hope Chuck's Arcade does well.
Me too. I just don't know if I have any high hopes for it.
No, yeah.
Um, I
And they don't. I don't even think they sell the pizza. This place isn't big enough to like give you a
they
table to
have
eat
to.
like a
They
pizza
have to. I think you're right though. From that
and
trailer.
like a Chuck and a Chuck E. Cheese pizza is a pretty good silly pizza to eat.
I agree.
Yeah, there's not enough room. I'm scrolling through the video. No pizza.
No
I actually
pizza.
also am surprised there's no like alcohol. So like how much for adults is it really?
You got to stand
But
up and
yeah,
eat your pizza.
just you have to slurp it down like a Scooby Doo character.
Yeah, you just you're no standings and no, yeah, I guess like no alcohol. So like yeah, you're right. It's not even that's the thing. It's not really for adults.
Mm,
It's like how do we open a place for Chuck E. Cheese nostalgia?
hmm
Because all the people who are nostalgic about Chuck E. Cheese are adults now. Because like you saw it in the trailer, there was a big old animatronic Chuck in a glass case.
Hmm.
And like that's something that they're all supposed to have. They're all supposed to have different big classic animatronics that are not functional. They're just there to look at. Um, but I just I don't know how. I guess you know what the thing that having that the name just gets people to look at you.
Yeah, of course.
They're not doing anything in my mind that I can tell. They're not doing anything different than any of the other arcades that are out around
Mhm.
me. Um, there are, I mean, there's obviously there's like the specific ones where like you mentioned Fun Spot in Laconia, where
Mhm.
it's the largest like classic arcade uh collection in
Mhm.
America or the world or whatever. And like they have that traditional ticketed area also. Um,
Mhm.
but it's like they do classic stuff. So it's almost specialized, right? And then there are
Yeah.
places out here that are specialized like we have an arcade that's just claw machines. We just have a
Mhm.
big claw machine place. Um, there are like the pinball arcades. Um, and like they're all in my mind kind of like these offshoots, whereas what Chuck's is doing is just a standard arcade that I think all it might do is just either fail or cannibalize the other arcades. Um,
Um, Mad Tea Party Tara said in the chat that like it's a museum, and I think that's really what it is. It's like here's this nostalgia museum of like of your memories, like, and also spend money while you're here. I think that's a really good point.
part of it for sure. Yeah. Like
Um,
they have or I don't know if all of them have it, but they mentioned in an article I read where they'll be selling like classic merch or you can win like classic merch from the
mhm.
arcades, like from tickets you can win like keychains and t-shirts and hats with like the old logos and stuff on them. Um, which yeah, I just leans into the like it is a museum. It's just like, but how far does that go? How long does that last? Like
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just try to off shelf all of their in stock stuff that they've been holding on to for years.
that's probably
Um,
also part of it. Is they just had a warehouse somewhere where they're like we haven't moved any of this stuff in 35 years. Like what can we do? And they're like, let's start, let's sell it to all the old people, give them new arcade games, and actually, you know what? That's also the thing with this. They say it's like
mhm.
targeted for adults, but it's like not. Kids are,
Mhm.
it's not like it's like adult only. You don't send the kids to Chuck E. Cheese and then the adults go to Chuck's Arcade. Like if you're an adult with kids, you're just going to Chuck's Arcade with the kids. So it's not like it's like a getaway from the kids.
Yeah, it's just like it's for people who are hanging out the mall and want to play like I can't imagine someone going to the mall to go to Chuck's Arcade more than out of novelty. Like
Yeah,
just like out of like one time, like two times, you know.
yeah. So
Yeah.
which is
I
also
also
like
remembered that we also have the round one now in Portland, which I don't know if you ever got to go to before you
in
moved,
your
but it's like
Portland
a yeah, in my Portland. Um yeah, because I own the state of Maine.
in
No,
East Coast Portland.
with where they're well, they're like a Japanese style arcade,
Yeah, we
like
have.
where they have like yeah, like miniature claw machines, all rhythm
Mhm.
games. They have karaoke play rooms you can like rent out. Like that's specialized too in a way that this isn't.
Yeah, we have a round one in just over the bridge in Vancouver.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yep. I've never been to one. Didn't go to it before. Um, but and I also just like looking at this, this is another thing that like arcades are doing where there are also bowling alleys.
Hmm.
Um,
Even Fun Spot has a bowling alley. I've never
yeah,
used it.
there's not a lot of, well, actually, what I should say, the bigger the arcade gets, the more variety you need in it with just like, I guess, other games like bowling or like pool or something. Um, but yeah,
Bowling. I can't imagine a pool table. That's crazy.
yeah, multiple probably even. I would,
Mhm.
I
Listen, this the Chuck's Arcade doesn't even have skee ball, so it's not a real arcade.
no, that's a very good point. If you don't have skee ball, you're not allowed to call yourself like a modern day arcade. It's just how it is. But yeah, now like talking about like these arcades and like Tara brought up and you brought up round one. We talked about like the claw machine arcades and all these other arcades. It just makes me like more interested in those other arcades than what Chuck's arcade is maybe offering.
Mhm.
And I think part of that also is because we have an arcade already called Ground Control that's very big. Um,
Mhm.
that just kind of feels like it's kind of doing what Chuck's arcade wants to do. So I don't know.
I would love to find out the return of investment on any of these arcades, just in general. Like, how much money does a modern arcade franchise even make anymore?
Yeah, I think they're doing better. Like it feels like something that's like doing better now than it used to.
Mhm.
Because like arcades completely died for a while, and like I feel like there's like, I don't want to call it a renaissance. They're coming up again. I don't think they're that profitable. Um, but they're at least sustainable. The one that I'm talking about, Ground Control. We visited it in like, I don't know, years before we moved out here. We had gone to Ground Control, and it's still around, which is good. Um, and like they have their special nights that people come for, whether it be like the pinball leagues or they have a Killer Queen machine.
Ooh,
So
gotta love the
they'll
queen.
have like Killer Queen tournaments and stuff like that. I don't know. Good luck, Chuck. Hope your arcade does well. Um, want to know what we got?
You want to talk about your emotional support horses?
Yeah, so I was gonna say horse racing and betting on horses could probably go hard in our an arcade. Like
Hmm.
I could imagine there being arcade games out there where it's just like put a coin in, choose a horse, and see which one wins, and you get tickets out of it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I have a game that's like kind of like that on my phone and on my computer, called Umamusume, um, where it's I pick a horse girl, an anime horse girl, and I train them and see what they can do and just hope they win. And if not, then I start over. And actually, I don't know if you want to if you want to do this. This is just an excuse for me to play the game. But here it is. Here's Uma Musume. Just got my account here. Um,
Hmm.
it's anime horse girls.
Hmm.
They are
I'm
they.
just saying you should swipe the card live on
I'm
air.
not swiping the card. No swipes. This game gets no swipes for me. But yeah, these girls are in high school, as you can tell. Uh,
Hmm.
and they have horse ears and horse tails. Um, this is what I'm talking about. All right, so I'll hit my career real quick. Ready? I'll show
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'll show you. I'm gonna resume. I've got this career going with this current horse. Um,
What's her name?
Air Groove.
That's a good ass name.
So I don't know how to get rid of this lame Discord thing on the side, but whatever. Um,
You can hear a shout.
so I get this anime girl. Her name is Air Groove. She's a horse. I've been training her stats. You can see her speed, stamina, power, guts, wit, that all
Mm-hmm.
affect different attributes during a race. She has aptitudes for different surfaces that she runs on, whether it be turf or dirt. There's different distances, sprints, mile, medium, long. And then there are different strategies that horses are good at. There's front runners, pace chasers, late something, and end something. Um, so I can choose my horse girl Air Groove is has an A rank in pace and late. And then to go along with these uh, strategies, you want to alter your stats a little bit differently. If you're a front runner, you probably want more stamina because you're pushing harder to stay out in front for longer.
Mm-hmm.
They have moods. The better mood they're in, the better they race, the better they train, you know?
Got to keep your horse girls happy.
Uh-huh. And then you can get skills for them that could potentially go off during a race. When a race happens, which I'll do, I'm currently the number 5 favorite in this race. I have no control. You have no control over this. Just like, a real horse race, I guess. You just train them. You're just training them, and then you send them out to race. And we can see
In real
all
horse races, there are jockeys, which definitely do impact the race.
a little bit. Not you don't want jockeys in this, I don't think. I don't think you want a little man riding on top of these horse girls. But you can see all the different horse girls in this race. There's 18 of them. You can see, the classics like Mihono, bourbon, vodka,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
aggregation. You know, a lot of the classics. These are all of the
Girly Smile is one of her name, one of their names.
yeah, and these are all horses. All these names are based off of actual race horses from
Mm-hmm.
Japan. All of these horses, there was at one point a horse named Air Groove. And a,
Good name.
a lot of these horses have a certain aesthetics or statistics about them based on the real horse. Like I forget the name of them all, but there was one horse that had like a skin condition that like prevented its like mane from growing long. So the horse girl has very short hair.
Yeah, yeah, that's the
Um,
kind of accuracy to reality that you really want from your
mhm,
horse
mhm.
girl gotcha game.
There's the horse Hara Urara, who her real life horse never won a race, and therefore her stats are bad in this game. But let's hit the race.
Hit the race.
We'll hit the race. We have different races that you play in, different like ranks of competition. This is a G1, which is like a very high ranked race. You get your crazy intro. You can skip things. You got these little announcers down here talking. Skip this. We start the race. I could fast forward this, um, but I'm not, and I'm gonna talk more about the game. So prior to this race, where these her scores are going, um, I chose Air Groove for this career, and you
Mhm.
start off in uh a like training sessions where you choose which stats you want to train. Um, I've chosen different training partners of a deck of cards to come in and they'll show up in the different training facilities. If I train in a facility where there's another person in it, I gain relationship with them. If I max out my relationship with them, um, if I train in a facility with that person in the facility that they are specialized in, I'll get a boost in training. We're coming down the stretch now, so like
Yeah.
I'm kind of
Oh,
locking in.
there you
I
go.
I don't have hopes for Air Groove. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna lose. Because
Wow, you gotta have faith in your girl.
I think I don't. Oh wait.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, she pulled it out. Oh my god, she pulled it out at the end. Cinema. So that was clutch. So we got the win. Um,
Got the big dub.
I would have been a lot more hyped and anxious about it if I was paying attention through the thing. But there we go. We win. We gain some fans. We gain some items, whatever, for the whole gotcha thing to rank up. We go back into the training mode. I'm going to turn the skip. I have skip on, which you can do, and it'll just automatically go through stuff, and it'll stop if you need to make a decision. Um, and then there's also on the computer, there's a log off the side, on the side where you can see
Mm-hmm.
everything. Um,
The log be crazy.
the log
The
sometimes,
log says some crazy narrative stuff.
yeah. So there is like stories in this, and there are like interactions that you have based on whatever training partners you've chosen to bring with you. Here's my goals. I've achieved 3 goals out of the 9 so far. The next one, it's another G1 race, another high ranked race. We have to place top 5. Unfortunately, I only have 2 turns. Sometimes you'll get like 8 turns, 12 turns. It just depends. Certain races take place in certain times of year. Um, and so like it could our next race could be farther out, which gives us more time to train, could be closer, whatever. Um, but yeah, so this is you can see this is a trainee event. I can click through this, you can see, you know, their conversation on the side. Sometimes I have to make a I'll hit skip one so I don't have to click. Sometimes they'll make decisions for you. If there's only one decision, they'll just click it. If it's 2, I'll make a decision. And that decision um grants me different stats or negatives, potential like negatives, like maybe I do something that takes more, like I you know, they want to go for a run or something together, and I'm like, yeah, go for it, and like it raises their speed but it drains their energy. um I got more power for whatever reason, you know. So normally I just full skip that. I don't pay attention to it. Just give me the numbers. I
In the
want
log there, in a second ago, you saw Narita be like, my, Empress, you really have taken a shine to your trainer. I'm just saying, there's
don't
more to this relationship.
don't I don't I don't like that.
In I one of the memes I saw around in my corner of the internet is that there's a white hair horse girl whose name I don't know, um, with like gems in her hair, but then one of her things is like because you can figure out their secrets or whatever, like
Oh,
you can like unlock their like stuff about them,
uh-huh.
and it goes like, "Did you know she's fantastic at trimming her nails just right?" And I'm like, "Well, I know what that's about. I know what that's inferring."
I don't know if I do, and I don't think I want to know. Anyways, so this is like the training portion of the game. You have your energy. If you rest, it wastes a turn, but your energy goes up. We can look at skills to buy. We have skill points. If she was to come down with some sort of negative condition,
Mhm.
I might have to go to the infirmary to get that fixed. Um, or I can send them on a recreational thing, which could potentially gain them a little bit of energy. And if they were in a bad mood, it'll help raise their mood.
Mhm.
I can also schedule races outside of the ones that I'm trying to meet in my goal. If I do that, that helps me get more fans and more skill points so I can spend on skins. So I'll hit training. You can see there's like this rainbow thing going around it and then going around this speed. That is because I am max friendship with this training
Mm.
partner. She has the speed specialization, and we are in the speed facility. So if I do this, I gain more speed than I normally would. I also, because of how tired I am, I have an 11% chance to fail, um,
Mm.
which would give me a negative condition. So I can go and I can do these. You can see the different girls in the different areas. We're going to hit the speed. We're going to do our friendship training, and it was a success. And like, it just skips all that because I just skip it. Um, if you look at this, uh, she made a fool of herself. The president kept saying things like, "That's the last straw," and I'm clutching at straws during lunch today. Um, I knew she must have been driving at a pun of some kind, but I couldn't figure it out. She was drinking sparkling water through a straw. I don't know, but now she feels bad about this, so it lowered her mood. Um, Now I'm gonna go send her on a recreational thing to raise her mood back up. There we go. Energy recovered, mood up. Oh, and we get to do the claw machine. Let's
The
go.
claw machine.
This doesn't always happen, but sometimes I get a claw machine that I get to do and I can win a little prize. What do those prizes do? I don't know, but we could do it. I want this one. Boop. Oh, I wanted the next one actually, but that's okay.
I'm gonna be right back.
Yay.
You keep yapping about Umamusume.
Oh, I lost. What the heck? I dropped it. God damn it. Um, but like in a short period of time, like this is the loop. Oh, look, it's the white-haired girl with the gems in her hair that Kay was talking about. Holy moly, why are there so many connect? Oh, they all fell. What is going on? Um, this is kind of the gameplay loop in like the shortest possible form I could show you. Oh no. Go back. Oh well. Where we saw a race and we saw like a training thing. So like you'll do a bunch of that training and then do your races and try to keep climbing the ranks. Keep doing more and more races until you win. Um, there's a lot more going on in this game um, outside of the career. This is the part that's just kind of like cinema. Like you go into the races and just hope that you win and spectate your girl that you've been training for however long. Uh and sometimes they pull it out. Like right now I'm only the number 5 favorite to win this. I only need to get top 5. So that's cool. I can progress. The farther you get your horse, the higher rank they become. When you start a new career, you can set 2 inspirations for your horse, and those inspirations help buff your new horse in certain ways. So like if I get air groove really high up in this career, she would be a better inspiration than a horse that was poor in a career. Um wow, look at this intro. This is pretty. It's got a heart. So yeah, this is part of the game. This is I'd say like the main chunk is the career.
Mhm.
There are other things that you can do with like you can do careers with your girls, and then you can uh get a team of 5 together for the different race types
Ooh.
on different surfaces and whatnot, and you can go head to head with somebody else
Okay.
and their team of girls. Um, you can do like random like matchmaking things, or you can do like custom. games with like friends and whatnot. There's actually a big streamer Umamusume tournament going on right now. I don't know the exact rules of it or how it works, but there's like 50,000 people watching. Uh,
And you would be there if we didn't have the show to run every week.
I'll catch the clips at the end. Don't worry. My boy Northern Lions in there. It's ran by Ludwig.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, it's weird. This game also came out like 3 or 4 years ago in Japan and just got like localized in America. And so the content that is given to us in America is as if the game was brand new. And
Yeah, they're
and
like slow rolling.
yeah, so like all that content that came out in Japan over those last 3 years, we will slowly be getting. This is looking real poor. Come on. And then what happens?
It's
Like
real.
I'm gonna get my rank here, which looks like it'll be bad. None of my skills are going off. Oh yeah,
Can't break away from the group.
real bad. Yeah. So you'll get a little rundown, typically, I think. So I got ninth, which wasn't where I needed.
It's the worst I've seen you do.
I can use resources to try again, or I can just end the career. I'll just hit the try again and I'll fast forward this, but this is like a quick representation of what
Mm.
this game is. Um,
So like, I'll like watching you play it and watching other people play it. It's like a game that has like a lot that I really do think is really neat,
mhm.
but I am really turned off by a lot of the gotcha mechanics. And like just like the classic kind of modern day gotcha game of like overstimulation. There's a billion buttons to hit. Here's a billion notifications. You have to click on everything to get your little currencies for this, your currencies for that, and all that kind of stuff that you need to do to like kind of min max your character. Doesn't 100% vibe with what I want out of a game with like the dopamine feedback. Um, I just it's not for me.
Yeah.
I've tried other gotcha games, and I also just don't like games that are constantly asking me to play it all the time. That like really I start to really resent a video game if it's like you need to be playing it every day, to like get the most out of it.
It could just
But I have friends who love gotcha games.
it could just be me. I don't feel that with
Mhm.
this game.
Okay.
I don't like
Uh,
I don't feel like this game is like begging for my attention. Also, like look at our girl. I don't know what
hmm
we use our clock. It raises our
hmm
mood. Look at her go now.
Yeah.
This
He's
this
in a better mood, you're gonna win.
this no,
Maybe.
I'm gonna get second, but still, that
Uh,
means we can continue the
yeah.
career with her. Um,
Um,
I'm gonna get out of the
the only
career.
thing other anecdotally, real quick, is that I sent my friend Bill, who's a big Genshin Impact guy, this game. Because I was like, we were at band practice, and I was like, "Hey, have you been playing Umamusume, or you know anything about it?" He goes, "They made a game based on that show," and I went, "Yeah, Bill, they did."
Yeah, this
um,
was an anime TV show.
um, and so I sent it to him. He goes, "I downloaded it, and then I immediately uninstalled it because I knew it would be a poor financial decision for me."
I don't. Yeah, so I'm gonna save and exit this career. I don't. I don't want to spend any money on it.
Mhm,
Um, it does have that all the gotcha mobile game mechanics. Like, look at all this stuff on this screen here. There's multiple
mhm,
exclamation points that wants you to click around and get stuff from here and from there, and whatever. And like, I can kind of mindlessly do that without it bothering me. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's just my mentality heading into this is very casual. Um,
mhm. It was just so funny that like you and everyone else playing this game got me to spend $30 to play Monster Rancher
yeah, you're welcome.
in the modern day, which is just this game in a lot of ways, but without one the anamorphic animals,
Yeah.
um, and the gotcha mechanics,
All right,
and also like the game was made in 20 years ago.
we're gonna finish this off.
Hmm.
with a scout. We're
Okay, yeah,
we're going to use our
you're gonna do
points that
both.
we've gathered from playing the game
Mhm.
to try
You're
to
gonna swipe the card.
unlock new horses. We're going to try to add more anime horse girls to our stable.
Hmm.
And that is fun.
Hmm. I do hear the meta though is that the support cards are more important.
Yeah, but it's less fun.
I agree with you.
It's less fun. The support cards are very important.
Hmm.
Um, so let's go. Let's see
There's
what.
a Twitch streamer that I like that she pulled both banners, the
Oh,
support banner and the horse banner, and got the super rare in both.
I got two
I was like, what the
golds
heck?
and a rainbow.
Mm,
So these are all the
maybe you should be.
girls coming into our stable of horse girls that we can
No,
train. Some of them I
that's
already
what
have. Ones that you
words.
already have, you get resources to
Hmm.
like raise their potential.
Get to winning.
We got two
Winning
straight
ticket.
King Halos. We've got Nice Nature. We've got Agnes Tachyon. Here we go. I want to be the best I can be, which means I gotta win. Look at this animation for this like rainbow. Oh my,
I'll react when I get there.
what is going on? Let's go. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
that's
special
pretty good.
week. 3-star horse. 3-star horse special week.
We love that.
We
This is adorable. The characters are adorable. The game is silly.
the game is silly. Oh wait, I got yeah. I got some gold coming up too. Yes, so I got some more points for vodka and for Super Creek.
Super Creep's a great name too.
Mm-hmm. So that was a good pull. That was a
Hmm.
good scout.
Streamer luck.
Um,
No.
and then there are also the support cards, which are like the training partners that you bring with you. Um, we'll do one of those. It's less fun to look at, but we'll do it. Um, and these, yeah, the training cards also have ranks and stars or whatever, and they're just different. They have different specializations for speed, power, stamina, whatever, like we saw. Um, and then also they'll have certain like scenarios in careers that you get with them, which could raise or lower certain stats. Oh my god, another. Let's go SSR twin turbo. I think. Oh no, it's new. Um, and then they also give you different potential skills. Like the horse you choose has a small set of skills that they could
Hmm.
potentially learn, and then the support cards also add new potential skills for you to learn. So like some cards might just give you skills that you don't care about, um, but maybe they raise your stats in certain ways. Whatever. I don't know. That's this game. This is my quick, uh, embarrassed look at what I've been spending my spare time doing. And it's hanging out with
And it- yeah.
these anime horse
And it's
girls.
not just you. This is like the one of the biggest games right
It's
now, especially
very
on like the streamer sphere.
it's very big. Like if I go to Twitch right now,
Mhm.
I hit browse, I click on I like yeah, if I can bring this back up. It might be hard to see there. Maybe you can see it here. Umamusume, currently the one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eighth highest streamed game right now
Mhm.
by viewership. It currently has 73,000 people watching it. Peak, another game I keep talking about and I really want to play.
It's a
And there were
lot.
people in this chat that I keep saying I want to play with. Has 78,000 people watching it right now. Um, but yeah, it's the thing right now, and I'm glad it's not just me.
Yeah, it would be a little crazy if it was just you.
Yeah,
I don't.
Um, yeah, so that's my Umamusume. I'm gonna keep playing it here and there when I'm bored.
And I will turn into all of those streams. I think that I can because it's fun to watch.
It's
I
fun to
just
watch.
can't bring
It's
myself
it's
to
it's
play it.
if you can get into it, it's goofy. It's just goofy to like cheer on these silly little anime horse girls
Mhm.
and watch them race and like watch them pull off their skills and get these come from behind whatever. It's it's fun. It's stupid. Uh but now we're done with that. I'll
Mhm.
I'll stream it here and there, play it here and there, but I'll only talk about it here again if something crazy happens. I don't know what, but don't worry. Next up, you've been playing the game you've been playing, which is
Mhm.
vastly
Game
different.
I finished
The game you
finally.
finished, Yakuza, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Tell me about it.
Mhm. Um, this is mostly I just want to really quickly. I mean, not quickly necessarily, but I want to wax poetic about Like a Dragon, the franchise, which is what it's always been known as in Japan. But then when they brought it here, they're like, it's Yakuza. And now they got rid of that because now they're at a place where, like, oh, people will just understand,
Like a
like,
Dragon.
like a dragon. Yeah, but all that being said, it's not like Resident Evil never switched to Biohazard. No, it doesn't matter. Um, consider this a little bit my review and a little bit my like a dragon is better. I agree, Domo. That like a little bit of my review and a little bit of my just like me wanting to praise Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and this franchise in general. I think if you go over from Yakuza 0 to Yakuza 8, Like a Dragon 0 to 8, and all the guidance that are canon in between, I truly think this is like the greatest melodrama video
What is
game
this?
franchise,
What is this
like
thing you sent
story
me?
could ever be. Like from start to finish, like Kiryu's journey of like being a young gun in the Yakuza to 6, where he's like kind of facing the consequences of his life as like a thug in theory, like a hired, like, he's a very romanticized, very like honorable like thug, but he's still a thug. Incredible. They're like, it's just an awesome story arc. And if it ended at 6, I think it would be like totally okay if Kiryu's plotline ended at 6. Those games are all beat 'em up games. They have 15,000 different mini games in them that are like fun, but I would tell you, if you ever are going to play any of these series, do not get distracted by them, because like you will, if you decide today's the day you're going to learn how to play mahjong, you're never going to finish playing a Yakuza game. Trust me, I've done it. I've like had to derail myself and stop playing it because I got too into trying to learn how to play mahjong. I still don't know how to play mahjong
Oh,
or shogi or hanafuda. But the mainline beat 'em up action game of those, the first 7 games, because 0, um, really fun to play with. But my love stems from the fact that when Yakuza 7 dropped, Like a Dragon, um, and they were like, it was kind of a reset where they're like, here's Ichiban, here's a new protagonist in this same world, and we're changing the gameplay. And they explain it in the game in the funniest way possible, where instead of being an action beat 'em up game, it's a turn-based game, because Ichiban, the protagonist of the game, is obsessed with Dragon Quest. As a kid, he loved Dragon Quest so much that now he envisions every battle he's in as a turn-based
which is
battle,
very
and
good.
that's the explanation for why it is that game.
I love that.
Um, and uh, he, after finishing Infinite Wealth, which is the Yakuza 8, which is very much split between Ichiban and Kiryu's plot line, where they both have like they're together, and then like after chapter 6 or whatever, you just alternate between which one is like your party leader, and you have like different parties for each of them. Um, but like I finished Infinite Wealth Sunday night, and one of my friends was in the Discord call watching me finish the game. He doesn't have a lot of like experience with the franchise, but I was just literally sitting there. We were watching the cutscenes together, and I was like, "Yo, Kiryu is just the coolest character that's ever existed." And then he was like, "He is really cool." And then Ichiban would do something, and I would be like, and I think Ichiban might be my favorite protagonist of all time. He's just the goodest boy. He just believes in people like to a point where that is detrimental to his own like safety and ability. Um, but he's just so charming and so nice and so like he just believes in people in a way that like makes me want to be a better person. Um, and to get really where I want to drive this home is that the weight of infinite wealth, though, is tying up while Ichiban is like on like doing his main plot and like a lot of this really important stuff, continuing a lot of like the threads from Seven. Kiryu's is like winding down. This is a Kiryu who's like he's in his 50s now. He has cancer. Like he is not the same Kiryu, and a lot of the game is this really emotional baggage of like Kiryu reminiscing on like the past his past 6 7 games is him going around and being like, oh, like I remember my relationship with this person, you know, like because like I remember like this thing and this thing, and it's like kind of him dealing with like the ramifications of being a thug and being a Yakuza member and being like, well, I never made anyone's life any better, which is demonstrably false. If you played any of these games, and him being like trying to be kind of like forced by everyone around him, like, no, like don't just give up, try to live because like you do make things better for everyone. Like you even made Ichiban have like the ability to go on and kind of carry the torch. I just think it's a truly incredible narrative from 0 to 8 so far, and I will play anything the studio makes now. And to tie it up with like almost like the what we talked about with like Microsoft, um, Ryu Go Gaku RGG,
RGG.
the studio that makes it, um, has a formula down, and they're able to make games that don't take as much time. And yes, it's like reuse assets from the last game and it's reuse concepts from the last game, but they always build on top of it and they always deliver narratively. Um, they don't spend billions of dollars in order to make the next giant thing when they know that they can keep making high quality content for cheaper and quicker. It's the meme that everyone says they want cheaper games that have like that take less time to make and they like for less money or whatever. Like these games are like you could spend a year if you wanted to just playing this franchise. I don't suggest it. You'll get burnout. You'll keep trying to learn how to play shogi. But like the amount of content in the franchise is truly incredible. The amount of quality in the franchise is incredible. The characters are fun as fuck. It's sad, it's silly. You get characters running around being like Ichiban, like in this the gameplay trailer is that you literally play Crazy Taxi, but you're a food delivery person. It's like Crazy Delivery or something like that.
Yeah,
Is this
Crazy
mini
Eats,
game?
I think, is what it says.
Yeah,
Crazy
Crazy
Eats.
Eats. Yeah. And it's like Sega is just like kind of poking fun at themselves in the mini games, but they're also having like really like serious moments in the narrative where you're like, I want to cry. Like there were times in this game that I literally was like, I was in Discord calls with people playing it, and I had to leave the Discord call because I'm like, I'm having too many emotions. Or even like, I want to have more emotions, but everyone keeps yapping, so I'm gonna leave. Um, so I don't know. My little review of this franchise is that it's incredible. If you have any interest in beat 'em up action games, you can play 0 through 6. If you like turn-based games, you can play 7 8. Um, you can just start with 7 because it is just Ichiban's story. There's obviously weight in the world, like with like um stuff that has happened does affect 7, but like you get context enough for it. 8's a little bit messier because 8 does reference a lot of the older games. So if you haven't played 0 through 6, you might miss out on stuff, but they do a great job of being like establishing this is this person's relationship to Kiryu. This is why it matters. and you still feel a lot of the emotional weight because it's very good at doing that.
So
Um,
so
yeah,
you've completed it,
yes,
and
I put 100 hours in this video game.
you said you'll play whatever RGG puts out now. They've
hmm
captured you.
hmm
Um, my question is like, so Domo in the chat says which game should you
hmm
play first? We'll go with that first. Like after playing
Okay.
this and like you've played other Yakuza games, correct?
Uh-huh.
Do you have like a recommended starting point?
0 or 7
Seven
is kind
being
of what
the
being
the
the Ichiban one, the
yeah.
first turn-based one. Um, basically, because that's what's going to establish like the world to you. You could start with one, which is like what the first one that came out. Yakuza Kiwami is what the remake of one is called.
Mhm.
It's also a good starting point, but zero just has more context, and you get to see like a one of the most popular side characters gets really fleshed out in zero, and compared to what he's like in one is really fun. Um, so, but then seven also just like is a brand new start. Ichiban, you get a new protagonist, like I said, and I don't know. You just it's a good starting place because it doesn't have the weight of 0 through 6 for the most part.
So then on the other end of that,
Mm-hmm.
where do you go next with this franchise? What would you play next from this? Do you have plans to play anything else?
Yeah, so
I know you
it is one of those things
I
where
I know you
like
said you'd play whatever, but
yeah, it is one of those things where like I am a little torn because I much prefer the turn-based gameplay style.
mhm.
And that's just who I am as a video gamer. Um, this is a weird phrase to say, video
You're a
gamer.
video gamer.
Um, I'm a video
We're all
gamer.
just video
Um,
gamers.
and I prefer the RPG turn-based stuff to the beat 'em up action stuff. There is a Gaiden is what they call them, which is just like a short story in the world for
Oh, okay.
um one of the side characters that came out after like a Dragon 8 called Yakuza Pirate in Hawaii, which is all about the best side character of the franchise, Makima or Mashima. And like I'm torn between wanting to play that or not because it is really cool, but it is just like a completely like not like a side story that has nothing to do with the major plot. Um, but I'll probably play it. But I am at that part where I'm like, I spent 100 hours on this game. I'm gonna take a break and then play the next and then like think about playing another one.
Yeah, so like is is this the one big turn-based Yakuza game?
7 and 8 are
Okay.
like those are the two turn-based ones. Yeah, anytime that Ichiban is the protagonist, it's
It's
turn-based.
turn-based.
Even in this game, actually, what's really this is a really fun dumb bit. When you fight people, Ichiban also imagines the people he's fighting as like weird monsters. Like they're not monsters, they're people, but they have weirder clothes on and they have like weird abilities because he has. We joke that he has brainworms that he just imagines like that everyone is like you know wackier and scarier than they are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when you take over as Kiryu, and Kiryu's the main character, you go into battle, and all of a sudden he's like, I see what Ichiban's been seeing this whole time, and it's just like, oh no, Kiryu's been like
He's
he
got the
got
brain
corrupted by
worms.
Ichiban's silliness. Yeah, he's got brainworms now
Yeah.
too. Um, but the other fun thing is that Kiryu, and as you go through his plot, and as he starts to like regain his will to like live and want to like actually like become like to try to fight cancer and all that kind of stuff, he starts to feel more like his old self. And you get an ability in the turn-based combat where you play a beat. You just start playing. He goes into his like Dragon Dojima mode, where it's just a beat 'em up game. Like
Oh.
you have like a time limit. Like for 60 seconds, you can just wail on people like you're playing the old school games, and that's really cool. It's another like how do we kind of treat our history with what we have going on now.
So we've got I'm looking at this right now.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a dragon, infinite wealth,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Technically a sequel to this game, but again, like which they were like, hey, we have Hawaii, we've made all of this area.
Mm-hmm.
Let's reuse a bunch of our assets and have like a fun little ship combat
Yeah.
game.
And then before that, there was just Like a Dragon, correct?
Yes, yeah. And there's another game in between them technically called Like a Dragon, The Man Who Erased His Name,
Yes, the man who
which is
like a dragon. That's the Gaiden game. The man who erased his
yeah,
name,
which just basically explains like how Kiryu ended up in
faking his
the
death
plot
and
line for
whatnot.
this game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So RGG has now, I think, one game or two games announced, right?
Yeah, they have Stranger Than Heaven.
Yep. Which is Stranger Than Heaven is the one that appears to be like going through different time
Yeah.
periods.
Codename Project Century.
Yep. Project Century. And then what's the other game they have?
Let's triple check.
I forget.
Ryu ga Gotoku.
I just remember there being two.
Oh yeah, they're Virtua Fighter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then so this company's also doing the new Virtua Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is this it? Like I think I already know the answer, but is this Sega's premier uh studio right now?
I think return on investment wise, actually, this is a wonderful question. This is a very interesting question to me because is it this or Atlas now? Like, with how much critical success and how much money Persona specifically makes nowadays,
Yep.
um, like, would Sega consider that instead?
It's interesting
But
because
are mhm,
um with Atlas having Persona,
mhm.
I
And the new
immediately
Persona Gacha game,
do think like, oh man, that like Persona's massive, massive, massive.
mhm,
Um, but for some reason, because of the type of game it is, I view even the
mhm.
Like a Dragon games, but Yakuza as a whole, um, I almost view that as more maybe mainstream, maybe just like more accessible is the word I'm
Mhm.
looking for. Almost like um, it, it's something about it feels more, yeah, just like accessible to a larger demographic of people, whereas uh the Persona game like feels so specific. But I think you're right, where I think Persona is probably easily the biggest selling.
Yeah, I remember when we looked at like the numbers when they like accidentally leaked the
Yeah.
numbers of like how much money they made in the last 5 years specifically. Like Persona 5 had like a truly insane amount of dollars made. Um, but you're right, because like it's easy to market like especially early like a dragon as like Japanese GTA, even though it's like different, but it's that's an easy way to sell the game to like a more
Mm-hmm.
casual gamer. Whereas like Persona 5, you have to be like, well, it's an RPG and a dungeon crawler, and you have to map out your days because it's also a life sim and it's in high school and it's like a lot less there's more things that you have to like explain as you go.
It's less.
Where
It looks a lot less straightforward. Like
mhm,
someone can look at this and be like, yeah, I'm. It's a third person action game or a third person
mhm,
like action game with RPG elements or whatever.
mhm,
Third person action RPG.
mhm,
And yeah, you look at Persona, you watch somebody go through that, and you're like, oh, it's turn based and also
mhm. A lot more reading. These
yeah.
are all like most of Like a Dragon is fully voice acted.
Mm-hmm. Um.
Also like certain side quests. The other thing I want to say is that Like a Dragon also is very special to me. Like not special, I'll say it's special to me because it's just a gosh darn RPG about adults,
Yeah.
about like 30, 40-year-old people. And I think that as I've gotten older, that's far more interesting to me than another like 10, 20 RPGs I played about like high schoolers or like 21-year-olds or like It's just a different perspective that I don't feel like I get very often, and everyone's treated like adults in this franchise.
I'm excited for the Umamusume sequel where they're all uh, midlife horse girls rather than high school horse girls.
Then you won't have to hide your inner
Yeah,
thoughts. No, I'm kidding.
yeah. But no, it's just I the relatability. It feels more
Mhm.
real, even how
Mhm.
wacky this game is. I haven't played it. I don't think I've played any of it. Um, but I've seen enough of it, and it's wild, and it's weird, and it's silly. Um, and like it doesn't take itself serious in a lot of moments, but
Mhm.
then like you said, there are a lot of like really emotional, serious moments in it. But like, uh, yeah, I think having these adult characters with adult narratives, uh,
Mhm.
it's almost something that like I don't feel often enough in like Japanese media that becomes popular.
Yeah,
Um,
like almost exclusively. Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of like high school settings.
yeah, there's a lot of like younger, like
Mhm.
even no matter how like adult the things that are happening might be, a lot of times it's they're still like high school girls. This like it. Yep, this is the part where I said like I don't. It's very silly.
Yeah,
Um,
this mini game that you're seeing in the video is Pokemon Snap. You like they often just take little concepts like
mhm.
Yakuza 7 had a whole ass business management sim
Yeah,
that was incredible. This one has this Pokemon Snap mini game. It has one that's a whole separate game, like just like narrative disconnect where you go to an island and you make an Animal Crossing island. Like it's just you making an attraction resort, and you have like little hotels that people stay at, and you have to like convince them to come to your island and make them have a good time in your island. Um, I don't love that one as much. I just think it just like misses the mark a little bit for me. But it's so crazy that like you can play a whole nother game within this game.
do you know uh which game in the Yakuza series like launched it to where it is now? Because I feel like with every new Yakuza game, it does continuously grow bigger and bigger.
Mhm.
Um, do you have any idea like where it popped off?
I think like that's a great question. I don't really know. Like I think I remember starting hearing about it a lot more when Zero and Kiwami. So the Kiwami tag is just like the remake of said game. So like Yakuza Kiwami is the remake of Yakuza. There's also Yakuza Kiwami 2, remake of 2. Um and then so like I remember hearing that a lot more in like the narrative. People are like, yeah, like no, Yakuza, you can now play it and it has like way more modern features. Um and then 3, 4, and 5 all have like remasters to them. But I think Zero in 2015, I remember hearing about it a lot more in like news sites. Um, and then, but like 7 is when I really started to like really pay attention. Like I knew Yakuza existed. I played Judgment, which is one of this is again in the same world, but you play as like a PI. Um, but when 7 came out, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna start paying. Like, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna go out of my way to like really commit my time to this franchise. Um, but I wonder what like the sales. I mean, we don't get because Sega, other unless they're leaked, don't tell
Yeah,
us
probably not.
how much game sales.
I'm trying to look at the release schedule. I want to say I recognized Yakuza
Mhm.
from the start. Like I remember Yakuza, Yakuza 2, Yakuza 3. I don't know if
Would that been when you worked at GameStop?
GameStop would have been Yakuza maybe 3. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I remember like there's a lot of game franchises I just remember more because of stocking shelves and whatnot.
Yeah, I think Yakuza 3. But like looking at this release schedule, You said it. They churn out the games fast. Yakuza came out in 2005. Yakuza 2
hmm
in 2006. Yakuza 3 in 2009. Yakuza
hmm
4 in 2010. Yakuza 5 in 2012. It's just like
Yeah.
rapid. I want to say
hmm
4 or 5, maybe even 3. 3, 4,
hmm
5, somewhere in there. They're so close together, it's hard to know exactly. But I think that's where I like started to realize like, oh, this is a pretty big thing. Uh
Yeah, and it's worth even saying that like the Yakuza 2 to Yakuza 3 gap is just because of the console gap. I mean, generation change, and because the PS3 not easy to develop for.
mhm.
Like, it's just really fascinating to be like, yeah, the biggest gap they've had in between games was when when they had to relearn how to make games for a new console.
Yeah.
Even like Yakuza 4, I mean the first PS4 one came out like 2 years after the Yakuza 5.
Cuz
So,
yeah, they 5 is what I left off on, right? And in
mhm.
2012. And then like there are other games in here that are listed that aren't
Like,
like the mainline games. Like there
yeah,
was Yakuza Dead Cells and like just some other
yeah.
games.
Yakuza. My fun little bit for that is like Dead Souls, which is like the one of like, what if Kamurocho, the big town you in, gets like it's surrounded by zombies and you're Kiryu and you have to fight zombies. Um, in when you're doing Kiryu's like reminiscent about his past in Yakuza 8, there are moments when he goes like, "Oh, this reminds me of a dream I had that this whole town was being attacked by zombies and I had to fight them." Like it's just like those are even treated as like things that Kiryu remembers even in dream form,
Yeah.
and it's adorable. Like I like it a lot.
Yeah, then like yeah, so 5 was in 2012.
hmm
Uh Yakuza 0 in 15, Yakuza Kiwami in 16, Yakuza 6 in 16, Kiwami 2 in 17, and then they came out with Fist of the North Star in Judgment in 2018,
hmm
Like a Dragon in 20, Lost Judgment 21, Like a Dragon Ishin and Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, both in 23, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth in 24, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii in 2025. It's
It's crazy.
it's they've been constant and constantly like critically acclaimed,
Yeah,
which is like
it's just like it's. It,
they're
I
they're
wish more studios were able to do things like
I
this
was
instead of working 7 years on a game that doesn't get to come out because Microsoft decides it's not good enough.
yeah, like looking at the if I look at the Metacritic that I found here throughout all the Yakuza series, 75,
hmm
77, 79, 78, 83 are 0 through 5
hmm
or 1 through 5. 0 got an 85, Kiwami got an 80. 6 got an 83, Kiwami 2 got an 85, Like a Dragon got an 84, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth 89, highest
hmm
highest
hmm
Metacritic out of all the Yakuza games.
They
Uh
just have their formula
it
down.
was
They have their like production pipeline.
it was also Like a Dragon is only one of 2 Yakuza games that got a perfect rating from Famitsu. Yakuza 5 got 40 out of 40 and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth got 40 out of 40.
5 is a lot of people's favorite, if my brain remembers
Mm-hmm.
how people rank them right now.
It's the this is the team that everybody wishes they had
Mhm.
because they churn out games every year, every other year, and they're constantly successful and well rated. And
Mhm.
it's not looked at as like an annual series. It's not a Madden or a
Mhm.
Call of Duty, right? So like
Yeah.
Call of Duty, is coming out every year because it's just like an annual game and it has like its drawbacks because of that. Whereas these games, like, no, I don't think I've ever heard anyone complain about how quickly a new Yakuza game comes out.
Yeah, like it's just like I remember there was somebody, I can't remember who I was watching, like when Pirate Yakuza came out. They were just like, I'm so happy I became a fan of this franchise because like I will have a game I want to play like almost every year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you know if there were any Yakuza games that were canceled?
Ooh, to go into our next, a good segue. I wish I had a better answer.
If if there were
Um,
any Yakuza canceled games, they'd probably up here in our next segment here, where we're going to talk about canceled games slash games that have been announced and just like no, there's been nothing said about it since. That we would like to see more of again, or just to reminisce
mhm.
about. I don't know. We're just going to talk about these games that got canceled.
A quick Google search says Yakuza series has no mainline games that have been officially canceled, and the only thing that has ever in the franchise been canceled was a mobile game that got discontinued after like years of use. So
Okay, so it was released.
yeah.
Um, yeah, we're going to talk about canceled games that we
Mhm.
want to see. Um, in some, some shape or form come back. We've had some recently that could have been in this topic leave this topic. Most
Mhm.
notably Pragmata,
Mhm.
which suddenly came out of nowhere. Um
Mega Man Legends 3. That's what it really is.
no, 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 please no. Please no. Um Also a game that would have been in this for a long time, Metroid Prime 4.
Mhm.
When was that
Still
announced?
not out.
It's not
Still
out.
not out.
It's not out. It doesn't even have a date yet. Um but that game was
Crazy.
announced forever ago and then just like went silent forever. Um, we'll start this off with I'll throw it up on the screen here with a game that you brought, your first one on the list here, the Earthbound 64
Uh,
game, um, which I don't think I knew about. Um,
this is the first game I remember being like, "Oh man, this looks so good," and then just like it being like something I never played in my like. I mean, I never got to
was
play,
never
of
able
course.
to. Yeah. Um,
The original Mother 3, Nintendo Earthbound 64.
is that that Earthbound 64 was originally going to be Mother 3?
Yeah, until they ugh, decided, I guess, like the N64 didn't have enough power for what they wanted to do. It didn't have enough, like, I don't know, it's as a system void of RPGs for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely devoid of it. I learned that semi recently.
Yeah, there's
Actually,
like four
dinner
of them.
Dinnermancer. Um, I was watching him play something. I can't remember. Um, but yeah, he brought up, he was like, yeah, there's like 5 RPGs on the Nintendo
Mhm.
64, which is crazy considering the Super
Mhm.
Nintendo's history.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
probably mainly because of Square abandoning them.
yeah, probably. Um, this is obviously a canceled game that never came out, and it was really bad footage, but it didn't look very good to me.
Mhm.
Um, but also, if I'm being honest, like I think a lot of people could just look at Earthbound and be like, this doesn't look nice. It has like a
Yeah,
weird style to it that I think some people adore because it's good. Um, if it wasn't a good game, I don't think people would like the way it looked. My personal take on it. Um,
hmm well, like now we're like just like Earthbound's like effect on the industries. I think because of how weird and not great it looks, that it's like that whole new age wave of indie game is like be weird and
yeah,
not like yeah, not like I guess like what you would say is like a typically clean looking game.
yeah, it is been discussed many times over and over, but the effect that Earthbound has on the industry and to have had no games is baffling. Um, and I think this is like, wow, look at that. That's pretty. Mother 2. What a video gamer.
Yeah, I know with my freaking Famicom,
You're such
Super Famicom copy of Mother 2.
you're such a video gamer. That's pretty cool. Um, so yeah, so I guess my question here, since you brought Earthbound 64 as this first game,
Hmm.
if Earthbound came back, do you want 3D models or sprites?
I want sprites.
Okay.
I think I want sprites because I don't like looking at Ness and Lucas in Smash Brothers.
It's okay.
I just
Okay.
want sprites. It just I think also just like the formula works better if there's sprites. And I get like the concept of like this back then going, we need to have a jump to 3D. Everything's having a jump to 3D. Let's jump to 3D. And that trailer for Earthbound 64 doesn't look looks very empty, looks very odd.
Yeah.
Um I would prefer not that.
So if it is that 2D sprite game, is it that 2D HD thing that people did? I hope not.
Yeah, I would say that that doesn't lend itself. Like I could be
Exactly.
proven wrong. Like I just because like someone could take it in a direction I haven't seen the 2D HD before, but like yeah, it's too yeah, as we said, it's too pretty, it's too good
It
looking for like the wacky
as
weirdness of Earthbound.
yeah, as it's not a knock against the 2D HD aesthetic and games that are in 2D HD. I just don't think 2D HD works with Earthbound. Um, but yeah, this is I think this is a layup of like, you know, whatever they were doing with with Earthbound 64. Do we know, because you said it eventually became Mother 3, did it hit the same like story points? Do we know?
No,
Like
no, they like from my understanding is that everything about Earthbound 64 was like
dropped.
completely canceled.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
dropped.
then yeah, let's bring back Earthbound 64, brand new, rethought, on the
But
Switch 2.
mhm.
On
And
this,
to be fair though, the 64 aesthetic is also now really is popular in the indie game sphere, so
it
maybe
is.
it would hit.
It is. I think you could make it, or well, I think you can make a game in that for Earthbound. I I think that would be a wild choice.
It
I
would be.
think a new Earthbound game in my head either needs to be 2D
Mhm.
or like super high quality 3D models and not a nostalgia that never existed for that series. Next up, StarCraft Ghost. Um and I don't know what I think Blizzard needs to do. Um I love StarCraft.
Mhm.
Um
One of our
I
bonding games as when we became friends.
yes, very true, very true. I enjoyed Heroes of the Storm. It's the best MOBA out there.
Mm-hmm. I
Nobody can
agree.
convince me any differently. Um, didn't really care about Warcraft. Didn't really care personally. I know it's huge. Well, they're all huge games, but didn't care about Diablo. Didn't really care about Overwatch. Um, I think a StarCraft Ghost or something similar like this would potentially be amazing for them right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just like looking at this footage where it is like an action shooter, basically,
Mm-hmm.
in the StarCraft world. Um, I think they have a they have success now with a shooter in Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, throw it in first person, give it a storyline, mission based, whatever, and in the StarCraft universe, which we haven't seen anything for in ever, Um, it sounds like a success to me.
Which yeah, which Blizzard proper needs. Um,
Yes.
like I think in the cultural like version of like success, because like obviously they still make a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
with WoW and a lot of money with Overwatch, and like they're doing fine. As you know, compared to a lot of the other Microsoft branded umbrella companies. Um, but like as far as like yeah, how to win gamers back, like how to win me back as like a person who like as a youth was like Blizzard bled from like my some of my first games was being too early in my life be given a copy of StarCraft 1 and Diablo 1 by my
Yeah.
like great uncle. I was like 6. I'm being like, well, Diablo's cool.
Sick.
um uh and Blizzard, I feel, needs a lot of like it just needs a win. It needs like a cultural win. In the
Yeah.
way that like this is a weird comparison, but in the way that like EA needed Star Wars Fallen Order to like work, like because of like how everyone was pissed off at them for like failing the Star Wars franchise licensing deal that they had, and
Mm-hmm.
for how pissed off like EA didn't like their all their single player games were failing, multiplayer games were failing, and then that came out, and then people were like, "Wow, this is actually like a good game that EA's made." Um, I think like this like Blizzard needs something similar to rewrite their narrative. Um, in general, also just like Blizzard, it just has, and I understand like having like control over all of your IP perfectly, but you have some of the biggest IP in PC gaming.
Which is massive right
Why,
now.
yeah, why not either like license out and publish something like a smaller, like a StarCraft Ghost, like be like, hey, make a game in our StarCraft universe, or like tell one of their like teams that they own, like why not make like a little like just a smaller game that can be made quicker, um just to get people back on their side, I guess.
Yeah, they need that. Yeah, exactly. That like that just that win with the public, get people back on their side. um there's no BlizzCon this year.
Hmm.
BlizzCon will be back in September of next year, 2026. So, you know, I don't know, I don't know what that means for this company that just like seems to be on this like downward slope where like
Hmm.
they've taken off time from doing BlizzCons because like they don't have anything of interest to show. They can't fill out a full convention of it. And like, are they bringing it back next year because they'll have more, or because they just feel like they need to get out in front of people again? But
Hmm.
yeah, they need like something for people to be like positive about again with that company because it's between like the way the company has run with leadership and like their like sexual abuse allegations that they had and
Hmm.
like work whatever stuff, the work environment. And then also just like going from Overwatch to Overwatch 2 being like not a
Hmm.
big hit and then cutting any single player content that you had from that and it's just constantly been like these like I don't even want to call them swings and misses. They're not even taking the swing. They're just like stepping up to the plate and watching three strikes go by and walking back.
Yeah,
Um,
especially like you can also like how Hearthstone has existed and like not really done anything of note in the past
it,
like half of its lifespan, like it just like petered out quite a
but
bit.
but the thing about their games is still that they're still so popular.
Hmm.
There's a there's millions of people playing Warcraft still,
Hmm.
Diablo still, not Starcraft. That's the one that I wish was big. Um,
Hmm.
there are still a lot of people playing Hearthstone. It's just like you don't really hear anything about Hearthstone anymore, but it's still A lot of people really like that battlegrounds mode.
Mhm.
Um, so it's like this weird thing where like I'm sure they're still making plenty of money off of these old games. A ton of people playing Overwatch, obviously. Um, but like the public perception is so negative around it, which is also just like this interesting
Mhm.
thing. Like you made a good game, but people still hate you. So like
Um,
you're doing something really weird.
one of the I mean, I guess like saying like with the topic is that in the book The Rise and Fall of Blizzard, written by Jason Schreier, through a lot of like the mid later years of the company, they're constantly working on Project Titan,
Yeah.
and like which is a game that is canceled.
Yep.
It shells pieces of it became Overwatch,
Yeah.
but like the that and the amount of resources trying to make like another IP is like it's really crazy, and how they're like Blizzard gets caught in the this like cycle of prestige. I think that's like pretty negatively has like affected how I view them, because like obviously yes, I love Blizzard because I loved Blizzard because they made great games. They made games that were like the peak of their genre
Mm-hmm.
almost. But then they started to like be afraid to take risk and like to release anything that was like not at that high of a level that they considered. And so they're one half of a $68 billion acquisition, and they've made nothing truly new
Yeah.
since then.
They we could honestly also it's fit
Diablo 4.
this other game in this category where like 2022
Mhm.
they announced that they were working on a new IP in a new
Mhm.
universe. And I think it's been called Odyssey.
Mhm.
So like a separate thing from Titan. This was like a game. I think it was like some sort of survival game in a whole new universe, as it says. There's some screenshots online that you can find of some like concept art for it. That was killed last year. Um, so yeah, they it's just I don't know if I want to say constant, but like there have been multiple recent instances of like between Titan and Odyssey where it's like people are really excited for a new Blizzard IP and a new universe and whatever, and it just never shows up.
Yeah, and now they're like under like the scrutiny of like we opened the show talking about all the layoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like Xbox is in a moment where we are bean counting more than we ever have before. We are like big Microsoft is has a big magnifying glass on Xbox and what they own, and they're like, well, World of Warcraft makes the most amount of money. Keep making expansions until you die.
Yeah.
Diablo makes a decent amount of money. Make just like add a new season every couple of months. Overwatch makes a good amount of money. Add a new character every 4 or 5 months, 6 months.
Oh, we you just
Dinnermancer, you just missed it.
you just missed it. We were just talking about Ghost. We were just talking about Ghost. We played a gameplay trailer of it and everything. It's a game we think needs to come back or something similar to that where it's just
Yeah,
like yeah, it needs to come back.
it's like a mid-range Blizzard game. Doesn't need to be a quadruple A 10 out of 10 on like the Blizzard scale, on the video game scale, best of the genre type of thing anymore.
Yeah, I think you something that you said like they can potentially just like license out
Mhm.
StarCraft or whatever for these like smaller games, kind of like how like Riot has done with League of Legends.
Mhm.
League of Legends has had some like smaller games released made by different companies of like all kinds of different genres and
Yeah, there's an RPG, there's a platformer, there's a puzzle game, like there's a
yeah,
card game.
yeah, Blizzard could easily do something like that and like just get their stuff out there more,
Mhm.
take more swings. Uh, next canceled game, which isn't this is one of the ones on this list that um is not canceled. We just haven't heard anything about it.
every year for a long time back um in the Twitter days, I remember you would be like, "This is the year Beyond Good and Evil 2 comes out.
I still
Like
joke
this is the
about it.
year, like this is the year we get news for it."
I still joke about it. Yeah, I want to see um Beyond Good and Evil 2 again.
Mhm.
Uh, it this is the website for it. The website is still up. It was announced, I think, like, hold on, let me go to the beginning of this news. 2018,
Mhm. 7 years ago.
7 years ago is when it was announced. The latest news we got was in 2020, July 12th, 2020, almost exactly 5 years ago. Um, Nothing has been said that it's canceled. Like, the website's still up. We can still watch
Mhm.
the trailer for it. Um, if you go into their latest news article, it says, as we announced last year, we are currently concentrating on core development and production milestones, so rest assured that Beyond Good
Mhm.
and Evil 2 is well underway.
Yeah.
And that was 5 years ago.
So the fun little bit about it is that technically there were rumors of like a sequel back in like '07, and because of that and because of some stuff, like it technically holds the record of like it is now the longest development period of a AAA game. It passed Duke Nukem Forever.
That's unfortunate.
uh yeah, and then yeah, we first saw the trailer in like 17, 18.
Yeah.
um they said that, and with like all the hit record stuff, that was very good,
That's
very
the.
very not good.
Oh, your camera
um
disappeared.
do you remember watching like the scale of like that vertical slice that they showed with like the monkey with, on like the buildings and all the spaceships running around? Because I remember seeing
Oh,
that and
yeah.
being like, well, this is crazy, this game looks incredible. I'm not confident it's going to exist.
I don't know if I crashed your video camera or if you crashed it, but your video's gone.
Hmm?
I tried to play this.
Did I die?
Maybe I died.
Did you die?
Oh, I died. No, yeah,
Hmm.
I died.
Did Chris die?
I did die. My internet is gone except for Discord. Everything crashed. Beyond Good and Evil doesn't want us talking about it. Have we
Oh,
returned?
yeah, I can hear you.
That's crazy. I think all of that happened
Hmm.
is gonna be in the recording, which is funny.
Cool.
We tried to play the Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailer on stream and it killed everything.
Big Ubisoft, big minority controlling Tencent
They're watching.
came for us.
They were watching and they said, "No, no, no. Do not remind people of this. We are not ready."
Yeah, I don't know how much of my waxing poetic about Beyond Good and Evil 2's trailer was recorded, but I remember seeing that and being like, "Well, this is incredible.
It
This can't be real."
Yeah, no. I remember when it was announced in 2018. I remember it looking beautiful and being really cool, and I'm fairly certain it wasn't announced what consoles it would be on. And everyone was like, "Oh, it's because it's on the next generation of consoles.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they didn't
Mm-hmm.
say, and that's why it looks so good. It's because it's
Yeah.
coming out on the next console." And then we've had, I think, two consoles generations since then. Um,
Yep.
so I don't know. I think I want this to come back, but Ubisoft seems pretty upset with me for that.
Ubisoft has to figure out what's going on with them first.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on because
Mhm.
that was
Because
unfortunate.
they tried to kill us.
Um, geez, are we going through all of these? We've got.
Listen, you play the trailer for Donkey Kong Racing, and I got like 5 things to say about it real quick, and that's all I got.
All right, we've got Donkey Kong Racing up next,
Mm-hmm.
and imagine if Ubisoft still made Rayman. Yeah,
Rayman Legends and Origins were so good.
they made Rayman Legends and Rayman Origins, and like a whole initiative about like that kind of art style, and then didn't do anything after that, and it drives me crazy because yeah, those games look good and they play so good, but we've given up.
Mm-hmm.
Ubisoft doesn't like real video games anymore.
Nope, they just like open world tower games. I'm being mean.
Yeah, it's okay. So here's Donkey Kong Racing,
Oh man.
not Diddy Kong
First of all,
Racing.
yeah, this is when Rare still was mostly independent. Um, they were like, all right, time to go. We're going to the GameCube. Time to make a new racing game. I really wanted to bring this up because there's 2 moments in this trailer that are directly referenced in DK Bonanza's trailer. And I
Okay.
just really wanted to be like, hey, like the scene where Diddy's on the Rhino
Yep.
and DK's on the Rhino right next to each other was perfectly made. And I'm like, look at them. They still care about this game, this vaporware that never came out.
This
Um,
vaporware.
uh, I would have loved it. I mean, I love Diddy Kong Racing. I prefer for kart racers back in that era. I prefer Diddy Kong Racing to Mario Kart Racing. Mario Kart Racing 64. Um, but unfortunately, this is a casualty of Rare being bought by Microsoft and them not being able to finish working on this game.
Yeah,
So it's like a nice little like what if, because like especially since that acquisition stole Banjo from me
yeah,
and has led to Sea of Thieves guy leaving and Everwild's trial and failure, as
yeah.
we said in the beginning of the show.
It Microsoft had the potential
Mm-hmm.
to own and develop two of the greatest kart racing franchises
Mm-hmm.
between Diddy Kong Racing
Mm-hmm.
and Crash Team Racing.
Mm-hmm.
They could have both of those thriving in the year of the cart, but instead we're making layoffs.
You know, not layups, layoffs.
Layoffs, no layups.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wonder why they would have changed it to Donkey Kong Racing. I'm
um,
my guess just from that trailer
mm-hmm.
is because it leans heavier into like
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Country, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
you see Dixie, you see Baby Gone.
and then just writing on like the different animal companions as
But you still see the genie.
you do still see the genie. He was in there. But yeah, I wonder if that's why they were like thinking like, oh, this isn't Diddy Kong Racing
Mm-hmm.
anymore. Now it's Donkey Kong Racing.
Mm-hmm. It is very interesting because like Diddy Kong Racing, has its own little lore and a little nonsense. With like a lot of the characters there. Tip Top.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's all I got for you right now.
Mm-hmm. Tip top.
Um,
That's the best one.
and the best one. And Drumsticks and Wizrobe. But like it is
Wizrobe?
they were like he's the villain. Wizpig, you're right. Never mind. I'm going
It's
crazy.
like the
Yep, took me a
Captain
second.
Falcon main.
Yep. Um, but they're probably just like, oh, it's more marketable if we use characters everyone knows instead of a lot of these nonsense little animals that we've made, despite the fact that I love them. And the badger named, I think, Badger, who canonically went to jail.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Isn't that explored in like a different game? I think there's
Yeah.
conversations or something that are had, maybe in like the remake of Diddy Kong Racing or something, Maybe it's the
Mm.
original one. I can't remember, but yeah, there are uh like conversations or something in game that's just like reference how the badger was incarcerated. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like, I like kart racers, like you like kart racers, and
Hmm.
I would have liked to live in this world where I got to see Donkey Kong racing for the GameCube.
Me too. Me too. What about a world where we saw Scalebound
Oh,
released?
whoa.
Look, another another
Another,
another Xbox game that
yeah, I was
got
gonna say another Xbox failure. Yeah.
my cat made a noise back there. I had to look at her.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, another game that Xbox was like, look what we're making, and then canceled.
Hmm.
And this
This,
was,
this guy's so Devil May Cry coded.
yeah, this was, if I remember, was this Platinum?
Yes.
So this is, Platinum Games, famous for Bayonetta,
Hmm.
and they were making this third-person action RPG where you
Hmm.
ride on dragons. And when I can remember thinking when this was shown off, just being like, this seems okay.
Hmm.
Heck yeah, dragons and riding on dragons. Um,
You're like, I played Panzer Dragoon for the Sega Saturn. I need that, but new.
there was also that like PS3, I think launch title where Layer, I think it's called Layer,
Hmm.
where like the whole game is on, riding on a dragon. And like this is even like multiplayer. Um, this would probably look amazing now. These would be the best looking dragons we've got. Um, I can't speak to how fun this looks just from watching
Yeah.
it, which is probably why it ended up getting canceled. But there's something here. I think there's something here with this that they they could have figured out and that they should still figure out. There were rumors semi recently that this game was coming back, but with Nintendo.
Oh yeah, because Hideki Kamiya, the director of this and the director of like, Resident, a couple Resident Evils and Beautiful Joe and Bayonetta, um, was the director of this originally, and he's constantly been like, "Yeah, I would love to keep making Scalebound." It's
Mm-hmm.
like, so, if those rumors are true, that's neat. Get your dollar.
Switch 2 exclusive Scalebound.
Mm.
It would probably look about this good. You could probably use a
Yep.
lot of the same assets. um, Actually, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I was gonna say maybe this looks closer to like a Switch One game, but no, this looks better than a Switch One game. I think.
Yeah, at least like this like pre-rendered cutscene for
Yeah,
sure.
for the most part. But yeah, this is a game that I think it like has has a look and a style, and yeah, the characters are very like you said, like
Mhm.
actually like Devil May Cry, or even just like recent Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, he looks a little bit like the guy from my boy Jack from
Sure.
Stranger of Paradise,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
the guy
Um,
who's got to kill chaos.
yes, that was a great trailer. Um,
I gotta kill chaos.
so here's another game where like I think if this comes back, it's potentially uh funnier and more exciting for me at least than like Pragmata suddenly coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Although looking at Pragmata and the gameplay for it, that might be an interesting game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
like the narrative that like Scalebound really has. Because I remember at the time it was like Xbox was like, we are really trying to make games to please Japanese gamers or bring more Japanese games to Xbox.
yeah,
Um, and then they really failed at that. across the board. Um, yeah, and like I don't know, this looks like an action multiplayer. It looks like a Monster Hunter in a certain way, but with dragons.
Kind of. Like, cause like yeah, it's big monsters, it's big scaled battles. Um, it doesn't play like Monster Hunter quite, but
For
like
the weight.
yeah. Um, I don't know. This is a more recent one too. So like I think it's one that feels more likely, or like you can see a vision for this more than
Hmm.
you can like uh StarCraft Ghost or something.
Yeah,
I think you see a better like line. Yeah, this is from 2016 also. You see a better line for how this could still work in like a modern day gaming market.
for sure.
Um, and then the last,
Reboot Scalebound, make it Night Rain. Elden Ring Night Rain, like.
a Night Rain like.
Hmm.
Okay. On dragons.
On dragons.
Okay. There's a circle closing in.
Yeah,
Okay.
big bosses,
Mm-hmm.
upgrades. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Game development easy. Why are all
Game
these people
development
getting
is
laid off?
easy. Ideas are easy. It's easy to come up with
Hmm.
ideas.
Yeah.
Last game, PT.
Yeah,
Uh,
I just feel like if we talked about canceled games and didn't talk about BT, we'd have egg on our faces.
it's true, and it's one that we didn't even think of until the end of our
Hmm.
quick little thought experiment. There have been a couple like PT likes. It's so interesting to me that like a demo for a game can create such an impact on game development. And just like
Yeah.
the just game circles in general, like I don't I've tried to think of this before. Like, yeah, Experience the World's first interactive teaser. So like it's weird that they call it an
Mhm.
interactive teaser. Makes me think that this wasn't like an actual demo of what the real game would be, you
Yeah,
know?
the Silent Hills.
Yeah. Um, but like, yeah, it spawned new games that play like this.
Mhm.
But I wonder if like if at the end of this, if it didn't turn out to be something for Silent Hills,
Mhm.
does it take off? The game is still the game, right? Or the
Yeah.
interactive
Mhm.
experience is still the interactive experience.
Mhm.
But does this like spawn new games like this if this wasn't Silent Hills? And I don't know if that's the
Yeah,
case.
I think I'm the opposite. I think 100%. I think the amount of people that played PT and continue to play PT. So part of my time working at GameStop was during the PT era and post PT era, where people would be like, they would come up to me like, "Can I get more for my PlayStation because it has PT on it?" And I'd be like, I'm sorry, no. Like online, yeah." I would be like, "You can," because the market for this demo, this gosh darn trailer, lost media, playable lost media for the most part now. Um, is was super captivating. People went out of their ways to be like, "Oh man, like did you, I got to watch PT reactions. I got to see like how this game works. It's unique in this like walking sim horror. I mean, walking. People say walking sim is a negative thing. I don't mean it that way. Um, but it's like I think it's this unique horror experience, this like weird mind bending horror experience that I think even if at the end they didn't go, "Here's Norman Reedus, Silent Hills." Um, People would go like, "Oh man, that was super unique. That was super." And also, yeah, Chris, it had Kojima's name attached to it. Like even if it wasn't Silent Hills, it still has Kojima's cachet.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know how far I'd go with it, but like it had Kojima's name.
Mhm.
And it was maybe, yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it was just like the combining of of it all, where it was like, here's a Kojima thing, and then like, holy crap, Kojima's doing Silent Hill, and it's got that guy from The Walking Dead in it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
And you're telling me Guillermo del Toro is also helping out? Like, whoa.
um, and yeah, so like maybe all those together is just like what I guess the thing I'm saying is just like, if there weren't so many eyes on this
Mhm.
because of Kojima and Silent Hill and whatever, like, does the gameplay stand out as unique enough for people to be like, I want more of this? Um, and like,
That's fair.
I I I think that the people who play it love it for what it is. I
Mhm.
won't. I can't like. I can't take anything away from PT. Like, it's very cool and it's neat. Part of what makes it neat is its cancellation and all this stuff around it for me. Um, but it's just like, I'm just trying to say, it was this perfect storm of things where like, I can't, for a canceled interactive experience to launch new games like based off of it is really cool
Mhm.
and lucky, but really cool. Um,
Mhm.
and I don't think we'd ever see this return from Kojima.
No, because I mean, like the yes and no. Because I will, cause, like, I would argue, like, is OD gonna just be a PT like is gonna be Kojima's stab at making a horror interactive experience like this? Like, is
I
that, he's instead of Guillermo del Toro, because he's already working with him on Death Stranding, he
mhm.
has Jordan Peele.
Notable horror dude.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know how confident I am because of Microsoft and Xbox and their whole thing. Um,
Hmm. So the top of the show topic.
if if I wasn't so down on Xbox, I think it would be really funny for Microsoft to have stolen Kojima to make PT for Xbox.
Hmm.
I think that would have been really funny. But now I'm just thinking like, it's gonna suck because because Xbox. But I don't know. I'm just down right now because of the layoffs and
Yeah.
whatever. But um, yeah, hopefully that's good. Um, if anyone else can think of any more games that have been canceled or announced and just like forgotten about, let me know, please.
Hmm.
Because
During prep, like, yeah, I talked about like Chrono Break. There was originally going to be a third Chrono Trigger
yeah,
type game. Would have been cool.
yep.
We joked about Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 3, something we were all clamoring for.
Nobody, nobody's
It would
clamoring
have
for that.
fixed it. Knuckles would have been in it.
He would have been in it. It's so true. He would have fixed everything. Knuckles would have.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, we didn't talk about Star Wars 1313, which is a big one.
Oh yes. So Star Wars
Uh,
1313. Quickly, what I wanted to say on it. It is one of the big ones, and there was a time where I did want that to come back. I currently don't.
yeah.
Uh, and I thought about this of segueing into it earlier when you're talking about Fallen Order
Hmm.
and how that kind of like almost like saved EA and their public perception because of how Star Wars games have been going, and then they made that Star Wars game and it was like good, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
I think since then, uh my perception of Star Wars games hasn't gotten any better.
Hmm.
Um and there's constantly struggles around Star Wars games.
And
Like,
Star Wars, like, in general, honestly, now.
yeah, so like, I think 1313 is super cool.
Hmm.
The idea and the setting is dope.
Yeah,
Um, I don't
but
want that.
now it would have to be a Mandalorian game or Mandalore game.
Maybe.
Hmm.
I don't, yeah, I don't want that game to come out right now.
Hmm.
Maybe in the future sometime. Not, not right now. It'd be
Another
interesting.
canceled.
I was just gonna say it'd be interesting to hear its name pop up again, but I would rather see it later down the line when things are a little different with Star Wars.
Yeah, the because another Star Wars canceled game is that there's like a playable level that you can download online of Battlefront 3 of the original aughts
Hmm.
Battlefront series. Um, and of course, that gets canceled for whatever reason may you have. Um, would be cool. I like the original Battlefronts more than I like the new Battlefronts, but would have liked that.
Yeah,
Um, and another nostalgia thing for me that has a playable build that you can download, and for all of Epic's bullshit, like they do allow you to download the last build they worked on for Unreal Tournament, where like in 2017 they were like, we're gonna have a new Unreal Tournament, and then they were like, oh, we're making too much money with Fortnite, we don't need to work on Unreal Tournament anymore.
yeah.
um and so they stopped, but they're still like, oh, here, you can go play it. And it's, of course, like it says bare minimum like assets and whatnot, but it's still fun to play, and it's still Unreal Tournament, which is, maybe an outdated like video game model, but it's cool,
It
it's
is
fun.
cool. I would like to see more Unreal. Unreal is in. They put Unreal characters in Fortnite.
They did. I
Yes,
actually don't know anything. That's crazy.
there are two Unreal Tournament skins in
No.
Fortnite. Yep. Everything's in Fortnite.
Cultured. Hmm.
Speaking of Star Wars, um, there was a place where you could have seen some Star Wars being played very fast. Uh,
Yeah.
in you could have seen Star Wars Jedi Survivor played entirely in 36 minutes and 1 second.
I
Uh,
caught most of that run.
oh, did you?
Yeah, and then I wait a minute, this is an endgame spoiler. I still haven't played this game. Maybe I should stop.
And that was at GDQ, the summer
Yeah.
version of games. Summer GDQ. Oh my God! Why can't
Yeah,
summer
eight,
games done quick?
yeah.
I got there. I'm tired.
SGDQ instead of AGDQ, which
Yeah.
is the winter one.
So that's going on
Uh,
right now.
yeah.
Started on Sunday. I'm actually I'm gonna post a link to the schedule
Mm.
in the live Twitch chat. Um, where are we right now? Let's see. So I could just open the
What?
stream. So it looks like
Oh, we're right about to go to an archipelago of Sonic Adventure 2?
we're
Chris, we gotta get off air.
looks like
I gotta watch Sonic Adventure
Sonic
2.
Adventure 2 is looks like what is currently being speedran. Let's see. Yeah, Sonic Adventure 2.
Mhm.
If I go open their stream. Oh.
Oh.
Um it's actually not going right now, but it looks like
Okay.
that's what they're heading into. So, that's dope.
Mhm.
Um so this whole event and the winter
Mhm.
one, I love and respect so much. I don't
Yeah.
watch nearly as much of it as like I would like to, but um I love that I can just tune in when like in the week long it goes on. I can tune in
Mhm.
whenever and I'll just watch whatever game is being speedran. Um I I don't think like there's some games for me where I'm like, "Ooh, heck
Mhm.
yeah, really want to see this." And then there are some times where I tune in where it's just like, "Oh, I've never heard of this game and it looks weird." But I'll watch it still.
Um, my specific example for that, is that at 5:33 this morning, I could not sleep, and I watched a man play a game called Arctic Eggs, and I had the most fun I've had in a long time watching that run. It
Yeah.
was just a very silly, very like it's a weird game. It's definitely an indie game with its own very like that kind of PS2 aesthetic vibe. Um, and the runners running it at 5:30 in the morning were really gosh darn fun. They're hyping up, they're being silly. They had a lot of like demon hour energy going into it. Never heard of it, but now I'm like that rules. Um, and I just want to tell Domo because Domo might have missed it at 9:50 this morning. Dabber Robotnik's Ring Racers was ran. They did Rocket Cup, and I know how much Domo loves that game, and then I think it's a really neat game.
Yeah, they did.
Um,
There is no YouTube VOD of it yet.
yeah, there will be, but
There will be. They slowly update them. One, two, three, four. There are four games that they still need to upload before Ring Racers.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, it looks like MathCat did the Rocket Cup speed run, 13 minutes 30 seconds at 6:53 a.m. So that'll probably be on their YouTube shortly. Um, and then
This
after,
whole event is so cool and so
yeah,
special. You
I was gonna say after Ring Racers was Mario Kart Super Circuit, so that's also cool.
go. Mhm.
But yeah, it is very cool and special. You continue. Gush about
Um,
GDQ.
yeah, it's again like every year I like these are two of my favorite weeks because I'm always have something that I can go back and fall on and watch, like you said. But it's also something that instead of like it's passive content that can easily become active content for me, and it's something that just warms my heart, my very sad dead heart will turn into these events, and I'll get very moved by the amount of like love and donations and the love of like like of certain cultures that get really like uh, taken care of through this event. I'm using weird words from weird places, but you know what I mean.
I do.
And like throughout the 15 years, I think, of like 10 years, the 10 years of running this event as Games Done Quick proper, $54 million has been raised between both the summer show and the winter show.
An insane amount of money
An insane amount of money
from
just
video
because people
gamers.
play games fast. They
Yeah.
just go quickly and sillily often.
Mm-hmm.
And like, between the two charities, it's either the Prevent Cancer Awareness Foundation and then Doctors Without Borders, which is what it is for right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just like it makes me feel good to watch this event happening. And as it's happened like throughout the years, it's silly, it's fun, uh, and there's like I've learned certain runners like through this. My guy Adisis, who I became a fan of because of this, has a run at 1:54 in the morning, upcoming in my time, so like 11 whatever for you. Um, he's running Dead Rising 3. Uh, and it's like, even though I've seen him run the game a million times on his own stream now, it's fun to turn into this event and have like the more silliness of like the couch conversation and whatnot.
It's yeah, no,
Um,
that's for sure one of the things with this event is even if you've seen a game speed ran by a certain person
mhm.
like 100 times or whatever, I still think it's just cool to watch it at this event with like the extra commentary going on behind them, the crowd cheering, the like donation messages rolling in. It still feels very special.
Mhm. Um, and the real quick runs I wanted to Domo, it's just not up yet. Sorry, I said to tell you it will be up. It will be up. It's just not there yet. But the couple runs that I would suggest is there was a Blue Prince bingo quest.
Yep.
I mean, a bingo run, which
They
is when two people have a whole set of goals set up in like vaguely like a bingo. Normally it's like a normal bingo sphere. This one they make the bingo. You have to connect objectives from what is you played Blueprints, Chris,
I
like the
did.
bottom of the house to get to the top of the house, like the main room. Like you had to connect any which way, going up, down, left, right to get to the like the end goal. And it was really fun, and they beat Blueprints in like 5 days.
It's crazy.
Um, which is crazy. And like even to the point where like somebody was like, I can't believe you beat me in bingo and you also got room 47 or six, whatever it was like in it.
Yeah.
So like that was super awesome to watch. And then earlier on, like day one, this is more of like GDQ has also done a really good job of like kind of showcasing new things for games.
Hmm.
There was a Beat Saber run on day one, um, where they showcase like the new modding scene for Beat Saber, which has a lot of like new visual effects. They're able to like it goes through Unreal. You're able to like really map out and change the environments around you. So like you'll be playing normal Beat Saber, and then all of a sudden you're in the back rooms, and then there's like a whole bunch of other visual stuff that's happening, and they add in like more modded, complicated techniques of like now there's another block that you can't hit, and like it's neat. It's just they just showcase these like look at what you can do in this game now, and look how wacky it's become.
Some of the stuff I really like to see is when it is a little wackier. Like
Mm-hmm,
I appreciate the standard speed runs of games.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm,
but I love seeing the stuff that includes multiple speedrunners, whether it be like
mm-hmm.
something co-op, like they're doing now, um, or uh, like speedrun races. I always thought were like really cool, and that's just like the competitive part of me. I like
I love
competitive.
the races,
I love competitive gaming. So the races
and
are
I'm the
something.
opposite, and I still love the races.
Yeah, I just think it's very cool. It's very silly. It's like a new way to see a lot of like games that you love, to see a lot
Mm-hmm.
of like games that you've never heard about, played by people who have like perfected it and know everything about it. Uh, and so like a lot of times they can just show it off and like really a really like fun lighting. Like I watched a little bit of an Uncharted 3
Yeah.
speed run, and there's just like little things like the person said it that they were speedrunning it. They were like, when you speedrun a game so much, you really learn to like love or hate like really odd specific parts of these games that like were never meant to really stick out, but like because they're so dedicated to it, like they know every little bit of every little game. And then even just like small things where they were playing and they're like walking through the desert and they're like, yeah, you can moonwalk out here. It doesn't do anything. I just think it's kind of cool. It's just like you can just spin around and start moonwalking, and it's just like, whoa, why can you do that? Okay, that's silly. Sure. Um. Anyway, I don't know. I like seeing their love and their passion for the game that they chose to run, to spend thousands and thousands of hours on, to just try to beat
Yeah.
it as many times as they can, as fast as they can. Um. But yeah, this is going on until Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we got at the end here. Saturday.
On real quick,
Hmm.
leading up to that, on Friday around 5 p.m. my time, 2 p.m. your time, is the Mario Maker 2 relay race.
Hmm.
And those are fun as hell. Those
Yeah.
are just like, it's pain, it's chaotic, it is cool.
From what I remember from these are curated levels.
Yeah, they're like 8 levels made by like specifically picked out a lot of
Hmm.
famous level designers in the Mario Maker community. Um, oh, who have used the panda? What's his name? That dude. I remember seeing his name a bunch. Um, and yeah, it's 4 teams. I mean, 2 teams of 4, and it's just like every time they die, the next person has the controller, so you don't necessarily even get to. You have to take a little break from having the muscle memory, but you're able to look at what the person in front of you did and go, "Oh, if I do this and this and this." And the levels are so hard, so hard.
It's like Kaizo Mario runs are in here, and those are crazy to see. But then yeah, again, this is like this cool showcase of like how talented these people are. Because if I remember, I don't think they've seen the levels before.
No, they're all blind
They're
levels.
all, yeah, they've never played these levels before. So it's just like very fun just watching them figure it out. And like you said, like pass the controller on, and it's like there's some camaraderie to it. It's fun. It is very good. Um, and then yeah, so Saturday, I just want to see what we're ending on. We've got Final Fantasy 9, which
Yep,
just had its
25th
anniversary.
anniversary. Yep.
Super
And
Mario
what does
Brothers.
Square Enix do? Nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they made a post online. They put a
They
post
made a
online.
post online and
Yeah,
they have a little tiny video being like, "Look at how cute Vivi is."
and we're
And I
like,
went, "All
yeah,
right, you're right."
you're right. Um, Final Fantasy 9, Super Mario Bros. 3, Kirby Superstar Ultra, Celeste, Mario 64. It's just like banger after banger. It's the last day,
Hmm.
all great ones. Bonus game 4, Mario Kart World.
Hmm.
They're just gonna do knockout tour, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then
Just
Deltarune
go off some crazy trips.
chapters 1 and 2,
Hmm.
not 3 and 4.
They did just come out,
They
so I
just came
kind
out,
of
so
get
they're figuring it out. Um, but yeah, so that's where we end. It's really cool. Everyone should know about it. I hope everyone already
it.
does.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the show.
Yeah. Thursday
Um,
night at midnight, they have the legendary four player co-op Halo Reach run. I'll turn into that. Those are
again,
always chaotic.
yeah, I'll turn into whatever. It's just like if I'm not doing anything and I want to turn something on, like when I'm alone, I'm I'm just on Twitch. Twitch is on.
Mhm.
I'm not watching
Yeah,
television
pretty much the
shows
same.
or movies on my own. It's typically just Twitch because I'm a nerd who loves video games. Um, Twitch.tv is my TV. It's true. It's always on my TV. So yeah, I don't know what's happening next week. Okay. We've been doing this thing at the
Donkey
end.
Kong comes out.
Donkey Kong comes out. We've been doing this thing where we're like
Um,
talking about things that are upcoming, and I'm too tired and it's too hot. And
yeah,
I don't know. I
there's a
don't
Ghost
know.
of Yotai direct in 2 days.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, I'm doing my best to carry the end segment.
Please do. I'm dying.
uh Donkey Kong, Ghost of Yotai. Maybe we talk about those things. Maybe we just yap about what we would do if were in charge of F-Zero, and the answer is dating sim once again. Um,
I think so.
but I don't know. Maybe something more. Maybe another cataclysmic layoff event will happen, and I'll just get more mad and repeat the same amount of anger I had
Oh
today
boy, I
next week.
really hope not.
Uh,
I really hope I get to play Peak this weekend sometime or this week.
yeah.
I've been trying forever. I have it. I own it. Trying to play with this certain group of best buds that I got named
Mhm.
my wife and her family. Um,
I'll be able to talk about Dokapon Kingdom.
I want to play Dokapon Kingdom 2, but you're playing that right after this
Yeah, I'm playing it right after this, and then I'll hopefully be able to play with you Saturday.
on twitch.tv/ no, not you're not playing on Twitch. I'm just kidding. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
maybe on Saturday we will.
Maybe we might play Dokapon on stream on Saturday.
You're in a
Um,
horse race.
maybe we'll get a little cinema in with the horse races. Get a little Dokapon in. Yeah. I have to end the show because I'm dying.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
not want to do the game?
No, we'll do the game duel.
Okay.
We'll do the game duel. We'll do the poster game duel. Um, but yeah, that's the show. I still have I got my horse races open. I gotta close this. I don't know how to exit the game
Oh no.
on the PC. I only know
Alt
how to
F4.
yeah, that's all I know how to do. Uh we'll do the game duel though. Yeah, so someday I'll remember what the hotkey is for this without looking. And we'll end the show. So we'll be back next week, next Tuesday. Yeah, you're here next Tuesday. 2.5 weeks.
Yeah,
Couple
it's
more
August, the one I can't do. The
couple more
first week of
weeks.
August.
Have a good weekend, everyone. Enjoy summer games. No, summer games done quick. Summer games
There you
done
go.
quick.
You did it. I'm so proud
Goodbye.
of you.
Goodbye, everybody.
I yield my time.
I think I had the button.